Welcome to Bitcoin Spike. This is London. We're going to go over the details of the price action of Bitcoin from a technical analysis standpoint. Welcome, you guys. I studied at Harvard Business School, Duke University, certified in markets. Guys, it's not financial advice. We welcome all our VIP top level of membership at our channel. We want to thank Angel Matos at top, 58,000.5 in total contributions. He's the epitome of VIP, invested in Bitcoin at $7.79. He finds his home here, as do I'd say the top traders. We're excited to have Angel, myself, and the guys in the back, etc. We're going to build in 2022. And we're excited to have you here today, tonight, etc. If you guys are rewatching the stream or you're just tuning in, please hit the like button. That makes a big difference for me and our group, that you guys say, yeah, we appreciate these live streams. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Let's talk about Bitcoin. We have some interesting price action. Very interesting. I was going through with the VIP in the back, just essentially the attempted reversal. Now, it may look like Greek to some other people, like in terms of the overall formation of what's going on here right now. The attempted reversal will go in through. As you guys know, we had a nice spike last night, okay? I was in a 5L position, boom. We did get that volatility up and over that specific rising wedge. As you guys know, that was the idea, right? We wanted to get some volatility. Appreciate you guys coming in the room. What's going on? Shout out to me in the chat if you get a chance. Appreciate that. In terms of this specific formation to the upside, we have a lot of patterns in play. I don't want the patterns to be a nuisance that there's so many of them. Descending triangle, right? Clear and easy, no problem. We had two rising wedges. You guys know that. Rising wedge in this area, rising wedge in this area, right? Whether or not you were on the candles or on the lines, that made a difference on the secondary one, right? The lines, I say condense the work on the candles. So in terms of that secondary function, the first one did prove to be a bearish feature. This second one, I'm glad that we had some price action up and above the specific rising wedge, because yes, they're bearish. However, I noted yesterday, normally we'll see some price action up and above, right? Up and above that specific threshold of the resistance. Just it's expected by the traders. I gotta tell you guys, if you trade a lot, you'll know this. It's like the previous rising wedge did not perform much over this line of resistance while they're bearish, meaning they would break down. We didn't see that on the first one. The first one, we just saw a little bit of I'd say kind of a double roll towards the top, a little bit of a double top, extended kind of a channel formation here to the top. Any upward slanting channel by nature is supposed to be bearish, okay? That's the definition. And we follow New York Institute of Finance. New York Institute of Finance, guys. NYIF was founded in 1922 by the New York Stock Exchange. 30 trillion in overall market cap. They wrote the book on price action. We know this is crypto, not stocks. However, there is a big overlap there in terms of the TA required to analyze either, in my opinion, accurately. So I want to check out Waves real quickly. Waves is doing something. I wanted to see what Waves was doing. Ape is moving just a bit. What else? Oil is up. You guys know that. Elon, small move. Just looking through the market to see if anything else is doing anything. Really, just taking a look. We're about 2 hours into the trade days. So Waves was really an incredible mover, guys. It really got up and out of its own formation here. But look at this beautiful pattern work here, up and over its line of resistance, potentially. Guys, breaking through that channel formation, that's a big deal for Waves. If you guys have been trading it, congratulations. If you're just tuning into Waves, take a look at it. See what you think technically. Very interesting coin in terms of the price action currently. As we look at BTC, I've got a kind of an interesting channel formation here as well. That comes from the weekly, just so we know, guys, from the weekly chart. Let's go from that weekly. Now, a little bit of a heads up on the weekly. Let's go through the details. On the weekly, we know that we have this specified, it's a very compact, as you guys know this, very compact triangulation here on the weekly, right? If you go to the candle wicks, I think we were the first one to bring this to the market. It kind of caught on very quickly, I think within the next day or so after we brought it to the market, just so you guys know. I keep tabs on things like that. Like I'll bring something to the market, just so you know, I will do the research, guys, in terms of, first of all, I'll do the TA, then I'll do the research, who all picks up on this. And yes, I'll bring something up, and then it seems like, well, all of a sudden, everyone wants to talk about the weekly and the constriction in terms of this symmetrical triangulation. The one thing that I would just note on the weekly, this is a very small pattern. pattern, guys, is a very small pattern on the weekly. The amplitude of this, and I say small, but let's just measure the body of the candle on the weekly is about $7,000. So that's something to repeat that to the upside. That's good from the base portion here. If we were to repeat, let's just say repeat, I don't know, right, it's about $3,500, $3,600, and thereafter to repeat that amplitude, that would be good. To throw $7,000 on top of that breakout would be nice, as we would look at that up and through the range of 48,000. Now we have some hurdles to get to if you're looking at the weekly. I just wanted to remind people. I brought it up to the VIP tonight. I'm like, yeah, I need to kind of tell people about this. Like the weekly chart is really condensed, right? It's really small. And in the framework, it just feels really small, right? And again, we could go back to the falling wedge here. Falling wedge was no huge falling wedge either. So maybe that's good to put it into perspective, if you guys will agree with that. The falling wedge that we got to on the weekly that I was the first to bring to the market, you guys saw that on Twitter, etc. It's like we see something big. No one was seeing anything big back then. You guys know that, right? When I brought it up at $30,000, everyone was like, something big. It's like, Bitcoin is big time down. So when I saw that falling wedge, maybe that wasn't the largest pattern either. So it's larger than this specific falling wedge on the weekly. However, and Path in the house, what's up? Pathfinder, boom. What's up, brother? How you doing, man? What's up? Pathfinder, I want to say, let's see. Let us know how the market is doing and what you're focused on. Boom. Pathfinder doing a great job. Pathfinder hit the low, the absolute low. And I mean down to the wick on Doge recently on my classic 86 retracement. He nailed it, guys. It is the low in the market. Pathfinder, he owned the low or owns the low in Doge. So we are friendly to Doge, Sheeb. You guys know. Harmony 1. What else we got? Dot, Dust, Near, Cardano, FTM. I normally do these without looking at anything. You guys know we could just go on and on. AXS, AVAX. I can start looking at the list if we need to, but we normally don't need to. Sand, Rune, Mana, blah blah blah. You guys know it's like we can sit here and list 50 coins that we like to trade. Whichever one is about to break threshold. Shout out to VIP. You guys had that Mina in the past few not so long ago. ETC. Within the last several days, week or so, Mina did real well. ETC picked up real nicely. We were discussing that before it really decided to gain some traction. So looking at this weekly again, just to remind people, in terms of the technicals, we'll cover them. I don't want to be biased in my approach to the technicals, right? And it's just really funny. I'm seeing, I have to tell you guys, I'm seeing a lot of scam videos. There's scammers here, there's scammers there, there's scammers everywhere. I see these things and part of me wants to laugh. I just have to talk with you guys a little bit because, and all these kids getting scammed are setting up illegal accounts to operate on illegal exchanges with VPNs. It's like there's so much remorse and sadness in the market of crypto. I've just noticed this today. It's like, well, such and such is a scammer. Well, so and so is this other channel is a scammer. And I'm like, what are they doing? They're inviting kids who want to get into. Some of them are kids, guys. Honestly, like 18, 19, 20. I don't know their age. But some of these audiences, I don't know what they cater to. But I've just noticed this in the plight of the scam hunt, the next scam. It's just funny, guys, because they honestly, like, what are these guys doing? Well, most of them are setting up illegal accounts somehow with a VPN. Maybe it's not illegal. You do the research legally on it. But I just think it's funny when I look at all these scam reported. This individual led 10,000 people to lose $10 million, and I'm like, on an illegal exchange that all the kiddos, everybody, all the crypto traders decided to go and sign up on an illegal, probably not licensed. To the extent it's a licensed exchange, everything's formality, driven, and everything's just fine and kosher. That's fine. But I mean, I have to slide things back a little bit the other way. It's like, if you're out on an exchange and we're looking for a new exchange, I'll bring that up. We're looking for a new exchange. I was discussing that with a little bit on the cusp with. Paths on the Doge. You know that. We're looking at another exchange, and this fits within the framework of what we're going to be discussing right now. Because I think in jest I bring up, well, everyone's on a legal exchange. Not that it doesn't matter anyway. I don't know, but like the remorse, the sadness, just think of it, guys. Everyone's like, they're all signing up on this exchange with a VPN. There's all the hush hush. They're not supposed to be doing it. And like, well, then they lose their money. Like, what do they expect to happen to their money? You have to act, you guys. You operate at your own risk, etc. It's kind of all over the sheets in crypto, right? So I'm not one of these guys like, oh, it's a huge scam. Oh, there's another huge scam. I'm not into that stuff. Most of those, I don't know. I'll listen to a little bit of them, but they're just, I always like to hear the other side of the coin, right? It's really important. So as we look at that that. I just have to say, like, we've traded on Gate quite a bit. You guys know that we traded on Gate. Gate's about to be off the books in terms of U.S. Being available to the U.S. So that's a big deal as we look at that, because like Rebel Bots is a brand new coin, went 30x in the last like 2.5 weeks. Rebel Robots went 30x in the last like 2 weeks, guys. So yeah, we're looking at that, looking at our new exchange. We're looking at some, I don't know, some options to potentially, we saw today, trade Doge at like 5x. We would like that very much, right? That'd be a lot of fun for our guys. And some of the guys that are down on Doge, they're like, okay, fine, I'll just throw some small cash and let it be multiplied in terms of the risk percentage. Let's kind of, get into some heavier throttle trading. Not sure that that's on the table, but we're looking at that, like a 5x Doge, maybe a 5x Luna. I just want to make sure that just so that you guys know, because we've been trading on Gate, we've been having a great time, all those new. And hi, guys, here I'm just sliding through the Bitcoin, just so that you guys know, through Bitcoin. In terms of, let's go to the weekly just to show you what I'm doing. I wanted to reframe this in terms of the technicals. I'll go back and forth between just kind of chatting with you guys and letting you know what we're really looking into in terms of this specific feature framework. I'd say of the weekly, it's a very compact, concise, symmetrical triangle, that coil right there that we've broken out of. I just want everyone to remember there is a carry up function. There's a carry up function, okay, of this lower support line. You guys know this. I want to make this just as proper as I can. This support line function, carry up, bam, to that first. And this is going to be a big deal. I'm going to snap this to grid so that you guys can see the exact line, okay, in terms of this. Let's go ahead and do away with this and this. This snap to grid function is hugely important. You guys know we are very solid on TA. We love our TA, right? We just couldn't trade without it. So extend right line. Let's extend left line too. Okay, in terms of that, we're going to encapsulate this real quickly. And yeah, in terms of the exchange, just while I do some of the technicals to let you guys know here on BTC's doing the technicals, pardon me. But as we would look at another exchange, I don't want it to be too aggressive. I want it to be, mainstream enough, but I don't want anyone to have to cut like major corners or to feel like, your money could be taken from you at any point, or it's not licensed, aka potentially illegal. I'm not going to make that judgment call, but I want you guys to at least think through those issues. Like, what's our expectation of profit if we're on an exchange that essentially, and some of these guys overseas, man, I'm jealous, guys, because you guys don't have to worry about that at all. We do. It's like, this regulation. You guys hear, well, what will they do with regulation? I don't know. Maybe it's like a precursor to what could happen, but I don't know if people could make money. Maybe they could have problems also getting their money out of the exchanges. That could be the issue as well, right? So we're always paying attention to issues like that when I look at a new exchange. And Gate's been great. I have to say, guys, it's been great. Shout out to Angel, brother. I know you've enjoyed Gate a lot. The leverage coins are officially no longer available on Gate. And the other options to me, some people will say, well, like KuCoin. Well, in the U.S., KuCoin is not an option. It is not licensed to operate in the U.S. So I'm not one of these guys just say, oh well, let's just put a VPN on and let's go. It's just too touch and go. And if you're really looking at making profits, it just doesn't make sense to try and make profits and keep them on something that's not licensed. Like, we wouldn't go to Caymans, right? We wouldn't go to the Caymans and like, oh, there's some banks that aren't licensed in the Cayman Islands over there. Well, hey, let's put our $1.5 million over there in that bank. Like, we step back onto home ground here, and we'd probably be looking over our shoulder. It's like I got $1.2 million in the Cayman Islands bank that it's not licensed. It's okay, but anyway, it's international. That's all I gotta say. It's international. Like, well, maybe that wouldn't be the best idea. So reframing this real quickly in terms of the technicals, while I add some of the discussion in terms of the exchange, I just want you guys to think through that with me a little bit, because I don't want to be reckless at all in terms of what we I don't know. L Bank is one in terms that we're really looking at right now. I brought that up previously. It's got some good features to it, some limiting features. We're going to see how I'm going to kind of be testing that a little bit here. So I'll be coming to you guys with some more information. But that 5L on Doge looks good on L Bank. That'd be fun to trade. I know that, guys. So we're looking forward to potentially doing that. In terms of this symmetrical triangulation feature and guys, that's for a trade group. If you're kind of lost, like, well, this isn't technical analysis, well, that's for VIP. That's our top level of membership. So we pay attention to definitely pay attention to the exchanges and try and better everybody's trade game. That's the bottom line. If you're still on Gate, guys, Way to go. Way to go. We'll try and help you pick those next top moving coins. I guess we can't trade them. So anyway, tough deal as we look at Gate with that 30x on Rebel Bots. I'm going to say this. We have a few weeks left, right? We have a few weeks left. Gate's still cool. So we'll figure out. Also, make sure to withdraw your coins from Gate, just so that you guys know. Withdraw your coins from Gate, right? Even when you guys approach that deadline, because there's a lot of coins on there you could pick up, and you may not be able to get them anywhere else. And so I think you can actually withdraw those. You guys check with the rules, etc. But as we would look at this condensing, say consolidation here with the two hits, I'd say 1 and 2 on this symmetrical triangulation. The carry up feature is a real carry up feature. I want you guys to know that carry up feature is real. Okay, that's a real standard of the industry. Accepted TA, proven back and forth up through the halls and walls of what's really acceptable in terms of technical analysis. Not a maybe, not a could be. No, this carry up feature of the line of support up to this hitch here on that, I say the original or initial pivot in from the top. That is, okay, a method of measuring this move to the upside. To the extent that right now, and essentially you'd create a channel formation. Now, this is on the weekly, okay? So on the weekly, that's the clearest picture we have of that triangulation, right? Now, in terms of the hit that we got yesterday, just look at how close we are to that line on the weekly. Now, the week is not done, but look how close we got on the line to that in terms of the weekly. Very, very, very close, guys. Very close. And I have another indicator on my screen, so you'll see a red or a green candle. It will depend. I'm just going to say it will depend on if you want me to revert that to normal. I'll be happy to do that. These are in relation to the moving averages, just to let you guys know where are we in relation to the moving averages. That'll be red or green. So a little bit different in terms of the candle work that you'll see on my screen. Don't let that distract you from the typical green means up, red means down, okay? In terms of that $141 off of that line, I wanted to note that tonight as you guys would look at the framework for a potential target to the upside. With that $141 of that top line target, guys, that's a big deal. You guys, I know you know that. That's just that's a big deal, guys. As we would look at the framework to put in kind of where we're at right now at the spike that we had. It was a nice spike. You guys know we're Bitcoin spike. We'd love to catch the spikes. I don't know if anyone got into a 5L or anything like that. I said last night, okay, I'm in a 5L. Want to see what we're going to do along the top of that wedge. If you guys followed along, you made some cash. Congratulations. Particularly if you have the quick hands to get in and get out. You got to have those Jackie Chan hands. Okay. I raced cars for a little while, and that was one of the guys like, man, you turn in the corners, you got to have those Jackie Chan hands. And so I applied that to trading. We have fun with that. So in terms of the just quick hands, right? You got to have those quick hands. In terms of this specific move, let's just talk about this. We're looking for additional momentum to the upside. I will not lie about that. Everyone knows when BTC started to move, and it's like, wow, we were really looking for a nice move. So looking at this threshold, we're just close, guys. It's a close deal. We're within $100, $150 of that top line threshold on the weekly. Just note that. Note to self, okay? In terms of that channel formation, that is an option in terms of the measurement to the upside. Noted, right? In terms of this framework to the upside, essentially from the breakout to the upside, we'd have a higher threshold. You guys know we've been discussing that higher threshold for a while in terms of that upside target. Say ballpark 48K would be nice, right? We'd love to get back into the framework of the specific section as you guys think of what would 48K be like. What would that be? Where would that put us back in the mix? And we have some other things to talk about clearly, but 48K would put us back into, as you reframe yourself around this zone in here. You guys remember that falling wedge that we had in here? You guys remember trading that, right? That was a while back. As you look at it, that would put us back up into this zone, right, with that constriction in terms of that falling wedge. Okay, it was that was a kind of a dicey move to the upside. It was a nice move, right? If you guys traded, it was tradable, right? Definitely tradable. But that 48K would put us back up in, I'd say, into that generalized zone. So that'd be the top target on the weekly. Okay, so on the weekly. Now, what is plaguing the traders in 2000 and the weekly, I'm going to say, has been very accurate. It's how we caught this bottom move here. Okay, so bottom line, and I'll say this time, instead of catching the specific pattern at the bottom, we actually have one of the lows, I'd say one of the lowest targets, if not the lowest target published in terms of below that 50% that did hit on the 4 hourly. Okay, so we kind of adjusted things a little bit to give people a different lower target here than we would have tried to catch, let's say, a specific pattern at the bottom here. We're streaming live during this 50% hit as well. You guys know, buy at support, sell at resistance, trade your patterns, and hit your target. targets, right? As we talk about those targets to the downside, so much easier to be carrying up. So much easier to be carrying up profit and deciding then if you wanted to release or not versus trying to hammer in, let's say potentially right now with all of this cross resistance. And I'll just say this in terms of, or this lateral resistance in this area, you'll see very easily right in here. Just look at that interesting carry up line from the weekly, right? As you'll see the levels here, it's not necessarily a line that you would care to fashion through this 4 hourly time frame, yet it is accurate as applied over and through carried up to the weekly. So just mind yourself that you'll see a lot of lines carried down to the lower time frames that seem like they don't make sense, right? In terms of the overall let's say the overall impact right now of where we're at in terms of the specific rising wedge. Let's just recoup into that. Covering this right here, interesting. Let me add one more indicator on here real quickly. Let me see. Is this my indicator button? Yes, it is. I'm going to do poor man's volume profile. Bam. Poor man's volume profile. There we go. Now that should give us a little bit of an insight. I just want to see that as that's expanded through this region. I want to see there. Okay, we've got essentially giving me kind of the key indicator, that midpoint level through the entirety of this of the body of the lower portion. Right, we know that upward in terms of the different. We went through that last night. The different levels of essentially resistance that we have up and above. Told you to go to the hourly to be the most bullish, right, instead of the 30-minute, which was most bearish. But around this kind of a point of control, this 39,000, right, just below 39,000. 39,000 is a big level as we're talking to going to the upside. Just mind yourself of I mean, a lot of trades occurred here recently in this zone. Really slowed down during this region. We're up in a region where it's stalled a few times. It has kicked around, but it has wanted to get back down several times. You guys know that. A little bit of framework here, boom. A little bit of framework here, boom. Right, this very quick. So we're hanging out here longer. It seems like for a bit longer than we have most recently. Bam. And here, I guess one of the things I wanted to discuss was this specific move here. Right, the specific move here in this zone when, bam, we started to capitulate. You guys know in the VIP, you guys know that BSH, that specific MACD hybrid signal on the map, right, with the MACD hybrid BSH. I love this orange and this blue line, fast EMA, etc. Very nice to see that. To see that play out on some of the other coins in terms of the interaction with that indicator, with that specific moving average, a very nicely laid out moving average. We can go to the bands if you guys want to, but just viewing that is crucial, very, very important. So as we would look at the let's do this. Let's look at the rising wedge real quickly and kind of put things into the framework. I don't want to just leave it with the notion that, well, we're in I'd say an instance of uncertainty, right? I'd like to really fully and completely as we can go through the technicals. And guys, we're doing it on sometimes a minute by minute basis in the back, looking at the potential for a reversal, right, with a fan, resistance to support, this resistance and support level right here. Essentially, the line of resistance, if we go to the candle work, just to let you guys know, resistance into support, the resistance into multiple lines of support and a respected line of resistance. As we look at that attempt for a reversal, which would be a move to the upside, a classic reversal feature, guys, is the fan. Look for your candle wicks here. You see this candle wick here, right, turned into this level of support, this secondary line, the resistance turned into support, right, which held. Then this next line of resistance, that's what we're currently trying to get up and over. Technically, that reversal pattern would be complete with a move to the upside. It would be nice, right? That third line, just so that you guys know, that 1, 2, 3, that third line is that final line. We have a little bit of digression here in terms of variability to be noted, but we're looking for a move like that when we see a potential for a reversal. I'm going to insert the waiver, right? Let's put the waiver on there, on the liability clause, right? In terms of the rising wedge, we don't want to, but we have to. Operating up and above a rising wedge is typically a bit difficult. You guys know that. On the candle wicks and on the lines, we have a different a different setup. If you guys are just tuning in, go ahead and shout out in the chats. We'd love to know that you guys are here, hanging out. What's going on with VIP? What's going on with Basecamp? You guys let us know with Basecampers. You guys trading. I know No Torque has been doing well on Basecamp. He's been following trades with us, and he's been doing pretty good. Looking forward to him going ahead and turning it into a VIP year. That'd be cool. We'd like some more dudes in the back chilling and trading and letting us know what they're finding in the charts and everything else. It's a lot of fun back there. So let us know if, when, and where. When will that happen? I think Abdullah was going to. You guys remember Abdullah? I think Abdullah, it was his name. He was going to join maybe at some point this weekend. And so we're getting into the weekend. That's the other good news. Congrats. You made it through another week. Not just in crypto, but in everything else. So congrats, guys. You made it. Hopefully with success on your tail tail end there in terms of your footsteps. Everything good, went well this week. Excited about you guys being in and around, positive community, etc. We all need that. So looking at the candle framework here is a little bit different than that line chart. Right, as we assess this, we're like underneath the line of resistance. That's not as maybe it feels a little bit what we say, just feels a little bit more aggressive, right? Feels a little bit more down than if we were operating on the actual line chart. On the line, it feels like, well, hey, we're still up and over that line of resistance. Hey, we still got things going on. We're using that as a level of support. Boom. It's always, guys, when it's 2022, always check your candle wicks, right? When I say that, it couldn't be more expressive than this. Just look at this. The levels that are communicated and that require you to have a backup strategy in this game are paramount. They're just obvious. It's just, in terms of like, the people who ask me all the time, you guys know this. Is it going up or is it going down? And shout out to, I'm just going to say Ricky Rick. What's up, Ricky Rick? Because one of my buddies in and around, and Ricky Rick decided today he's got a healthy position in BTC. Hit down into the region, my lower target here. Boom. Healthy position, guys. And Ricky Rick tonight was asking me in terms of, and I'll rag on him for a minute, but he says, shuffling through some coins. Boom. That's VIP. VIP. But Ricky Rick earlier tonight, just to let you guys know, Ricky Rick was, and he's got. When I say he's got a decent position in BTC, he got a pretty heavy position down there. What I'll say is tonight, I saw him briefly, and I said, the deal is, I was like, that BTC is on the top of a rising wedge. You know that, right? And he looked at me, he's like, so that means it's going to go up or down? And I'm like, well, you have that New York Institute of Finance book. I want you to go see that New York Institute of Finance book and see how to beat it. That's the bottom line. It's like, and it was just so funny because you'll get people, and even with big positions, everything else. And I'll tell you another thing. A lot of them believe wholeheartedly. I'll tell you this, guys. They believe they have to go do their homework, and I love everybody around me, etc., friends and family, without a doubt. And I have to like this, in terms of I have to appreciate it. People are going to go do their homework on YouTube. They're going to go research on YouTube what everyone else is saying on YouTube. Guys, I got to tell you, it's a little bit more complicated than that. Okay, you guys know that. That's not really 21st century. 22nd, 23rd, or 24th century or beyond. I don't think that qualifies as real due diligence necessarily for BTC, for altcoins, for anything. Just, guys, go the step beyond. And I would encourage Ricky Rick or anybody else in terms of that. Like, the real homework is, and I just let this soak in. All right, someone who would have a big position in Bitcoin, right, in the money right now, well in the money, guys, big position in Bitcoin. You guys see other stations like, a huge. I'm talking about a big position, guys. Okay, not all over the map, but in terms of the broadcast, in terms of that, I'll just call him Ricky Rick. He's a good bud of mine. So, big position on Bitcoin. So in terms of that, realize even he thinks, well, I got to do my homework. I got to get in and watch YouTube and figure out. Now, if he's watching our station, but he's also he'll also filter through and find different experts of this and prediction of that, and $500 million a coin for that. Not all that's research, guys. Like, or not all that's a homework. Right? With all the love in the world, I guess say not all that's homework, right? For the guy who wants to have the position of BTC at the top of the rising wedge, and to state that, is it going up or down? Well, the same guy has a New York Institute of Finance book at his house. He hasn't opened up that book. His homework may be going through and watching different YouTube stations. guys, I'm gonna tell you, long run, the guys who like really use the materials just in life that are presented to you, whether or not you find a great guide elsewhere, etc., in terms of, and not me per se, but the materials, right? What does the street know? What does literally the Wall Street guys, Wall Street institutional investors, what do they know? How are they applying the fundamentals of technical analysis? What's their targeting routine below? What is the what is the way to beat this specific rising wedge on the probabilities, on the holes? If you had 100 of these, and that's the issue. If you had 100 of these, right, what would you guys say? If you had 100 of these, right, it's spelled out for you, right? The probabilities are, generally speaking, rising wedge is bearish, right? You wouldn't want to miss this one, right? But you start to look at that. Well, if you had 100 of these right here, the probabilities are going to be the probabilities. So could it surprise us? Absolutely. Right now, however, it's acting exactly as we would expect in terms of the feature here for a rising wedge. Now on the lines, we have a different look and viewpoint. I just want to encourage you guys. Like you say, well, I do my homework, I do my due diligence, etc. Like it's not by watching the multitude of people who it's just not general YouTube content is the homework. That's just not it. You guys know that. So I don't know how to tell you guys that, but I don't know. It's kind of interesting what people will view as due diligence, even with big positions and decent amounts of money. So yeah, we should just feel lucky here at this group because you guys kind of get it, right? You understand it's not a quick, easy answer. Listen to someone else's opinion. Let's just get going. So neither is it just to understand that this is just a bearish feature in and of itself, right? What we would look for here, since we don't have a real fan to deal with or any kind of another reversal procedure in play other than the coil on the weekly, right? And we have broken out of that weekly. The key is the target, boom, boom, right? Twice, you hit twice. And it's funny as I speak with anybody about the specific level at the 44,500 or 45,000, just right up to that $45,000 mark. I'll speak to somebody who got in at the target at the lower level, and I'll be like, so it's offering you that price again. You're right back at 45,000. You didn't like it here. You didn't like it, let's say, I know you didn't like it, 24 days ago, guys, 24 days ago, right? You didn't like it then. I know you didn't like it 44 days ago. Okay, so when you look at this, it's like you didn't like it 20 days ago, you didn't like it 40 days ago. It starts to, the big question is, we know that, but it's going up right now, right? It is different now in that we have broken out of that weekly. Okay, we've broken out of that weekly. Just to be fair, right now it is a bit different than the preceding great trades, right? And out of fairness as well, we have to pay a lot of attention to these trades. We have to pay a lot of attention to these trades in the time spent in terms of, I guess we could kind of call this class, it's at least hopefully truly educational, or at least professional. I'd like to say professional, irrespective. Like Angel says, we're not choir boys, right? People don't get into crypto necessarily to be choir boys. That's not the idea, right? Nobody's perfect here, etc. But in terms of the application of the fundamentals of technical analysis, yes, okay. In terms of that, we spend a lot of, and I actually spend, quite a bit of time making sure that the content is not so intensive in terms of TA that it's overwhelming. People need a break now and then, believe it or not. So we try and provide a good balance for anyone that is listening, and I'm excited to continue to be able to do that, particularly with our VIP in the back. We're always going over kind of market sentiment, some different options in the back. We're looking forward to 2022 and expanding what we are going over in the back. It's going to be nice. So the daily has a nice feature here in terms of that carry up line for the support, the resistance. On that daily, it seems to cut through this the entirety of this previous price action relatively well. Don't you guys agree? From this kind of a major interaction here of this line of potential resistance, slight interaction here, and kind of a fading off level of interaction at this level on the daily. And again, that is on any symmetrical triangle, just the bringing up that level of support to the resistance. Bam. All right, so we're seeing a bit nicer of a level of interaction there, because it's not necessarily, as you guys would look at this is not necessarily something that we would look at and say it's a channel formation. However, when you do the analysis and the analytics on it, the TA, you do know that's one of the primary functions of a coil or a symmetrical triangle, right? This specific pattern right here, this specific symmetrical triangulation, which can act as a reversal, okay? To the extent that and this is the caveat, you guys know this, not to put everything into a perspective where, well, everything is shrouded by a could be the other way. That is not the idea. To the extent that that is eliminated in the market, I'll tell you that would be an instance where risk is eliminated. Thereby, you would have no market. Okay, so to the extent that we look for those optimal trades, to the extent that everything is clear cut, 100%, no problem, easy answer, that's fantastic. An annuity is a lot like that. If anyone wants to buy an annuity, you can buy an annuity and you'll have an easy answer. You'll get that 5, 6, 8, 10, maybe 12% a year on your annuity, right? No risk, no problem. As you get into the market, it's a lot more, I'd say it's a lot more, I'd say filled with that element of risk. So those probabilities come into play as well as the strategy. The strategy is crucial, guys. Buy at support, sell at resistance, trade your patterns, right, and hit your targets. And any aspect of that you don't understand, just keep working at it. Just keep focusing on TA, technical analysis, and the overall fundamentals that are applied to the market. I'll say that as well. If news hits on something, we want to definitely hone in on the news situation, on how the fundamentals recently with Ukraine, etc., have worked into the mix, right? We want to know. So in terms of this formation here, what I'd love to see would be some sort of a pennant in this area, right? If this top formation cannot pick up in this zone here, I would love to see a pennant formation. On this lower level, let's diagnose this and see what happened. We haven't really delved into this on this pennant formation, or on the on the rising wedge circumstance, but we did. One of the options, let me say this, as you look at, well, a rising wedge is bearish, right? One of the options is, okay, well, how do we beat it? It means it's going to go down, right? To the extent that we looked at the macro here, just appreciate this. Everyone knows this here. Guys, on the macro, you talk about a macro consideration here in terms of these rising wedges. You didn't want to be around, guys, okay, at all in the price action. We called this beforehand, okay? I'm telling you, from that previous 65,000, that rising wedge, rising level of resistance and support with a constriction, okay, upward diagonal, boom. The secondary one, you did not want to be around BTC, boom, at all, guys, in terms of this, unless you were shorting. Big move to the downside. If we go to the actual candle wicks from the point of breakout, guys, 44% in a short number of days, okay, within a very short number of days. So powerful patterns, not to be held lightly, not to say, well, how do we beat one? No problem, right? When you look at that, that was 7 days. That was within a week. That was 46% down from the point of breakout. From the line of resistance, which was clearly identified, to give you the wedge, it was, look at that, guys, 50% down in 7 days. So we respect rising wedge in line with the probabilities, okay? You can ask these people again if they wanted to trade this or not. Now, in terms of we want to long this or not. Now, we'll distinguish these two from the current circumstance. We have on the lower time frame, at least, like this secondary one here is interesting. Like, did we have any action up and above? We did not on either of those, but the first one really formed with the secondary peak. So the second one is a good one to analyze, along with, and kind of included in our data set. We don't have that push up and above. We do have that push up and above on the, let's go to the 5-minute real quickly. I think you guys will like this, the framework that we're putting this into quite a bit. Let's go to the hourly instead, maybe the 30-minute. Looking at this preceding rising wedge, we did let you know about it. Just it wasn't popular because, I'm going to say this, just generally with the traders, it's not going to be popular because it picks up from this standpoint right here. Right? You're like, well, it still went up. Well, but in terms of trying to capture a trade, right? When you're looking to trade, you're looking to potentially, if you're on leverage, et cetera, and you don't want the that 3 to 5 to, is it 15? Is it 30% drop, depending upon what type of an investment instrument you're in, right? If you're on options, et cetera, and as you guys develop your game further, 3%, maybe 30%, right? At some point, you're dealing with a compound of and a multiple of the actual returns on the actual screen. So, did it go up or did it go down? That's the crucial thing that we're looking at in terms of this rising wedge. Now, we did operate up and above. We dropped down to the extent that there is a nice interpretation of this general zone here as having produced somewhat of a bull pennant, okay? Because yes, we go up, and we did. We fell on down through that through the framework of the support line of that rising wedge. But to the extent that we covered ourselves really well and picked up in the framework of a nice reversal pattern to the upside here, what we would look at is, well, that looks very, very much like a bull pennant. You guys know that in terms of the classical definition, the run to the upside, boom. Right? Boom. Nice move to the upside. And this triangulation, right? Essentially, this symmetrical triangulation would be required Okay, so we would have to work with these lines just a bit. The lower time frames may add on some additional insight into that specific pattern. However, I just want to the purpose right now is to elaborate on this move down here. Which, guys, you say, well, it was a slight move down. Well, a slight move down could have slight move down again and recapture the entirety of this zone in here, right? So you're one real kind of macro move away from being completely back out of the move that we had there. So it's crucial to stay on top of these moves. You guys know that. You're within a degree here of return to kind of the floor level in that zone. So it's a big deal. As we look at that specific I say bull pennant feature that is kind of a little bit masked, okay? Masked in terms of not wonderfully apparent. It did have this specific defect in this area, right? To the extent that we're willing to look past that and carry up to this zone here, right? In terms of the maximum feature here, we always want the bull pennant to be a strong move entirely on the way up, but we're willing to look past just a few of the details, right? As we construct these. Looking for that move to the upside. Hey, we've completed that specific move to the upside. Now, I bring this up in maybe a dual or triple context. We'll talk about the framework that is being discussed either with 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go, and potentially 5 move to the upside. That would be nice. As you guys know, Elliott wave formation. Could we, guys? Could we, by chance, get ourselves a 1, 2, 3? If it were to go down, could that be a healthy, positive thing for the market, right? Can we formulate a 4 and then break out into a 5, right? That would be a nice thing to see. We've had a very interesting time, and you guys know this who've been trading. We have had an interesting grind here, right? Just a real slow, methodical move back to the upside. Very, I'd say very unique for what we've been experiencing. It's like a move of first instance, right? As you would look back at, if we go to the daily chart, we have not had a move like that, okay? We just have not had that in the entirety of this last 100 days or so. We haven't had the price just continue to chisel to the upside. So in terms of like 140 days, we haven't had that. So it's important for us to notice that, not only the overall movement in price, but the duration and the aspects technically in terms of its formation, to include multiple bull flags also on the map, to include kind of extended understanding of, I'd say, different patterns like this. I'd say this interpretation that we could have of this bull pennant. These are things that we just need to discuss, and I'd say in terms of understanding the full potential of the current move. It's just, well, I'll say that. I don't want to give the quick, easy answer, and that's it, and everybody, let's go buy. Everybody, let's go sell. You know, we can do that 8 out of 10 times, and maybe everybody's great. And the one time everybody decides to go heavy, or the one guy decides to go too heavy. And what happens? Well, it's just the market. It's just the market. It's just the risk. And then we lose the guy. I'm going to tell you guys, in the past, we'll lose the guy, or the guy will decide. We just traded one of these. I know this right now. Bam, I'm short. That's it. I'm 100% short. I'm going to tell you guys, the discussion, the framework, the advancement of the technicals, we're accurate quite a few times, guys. We have a very good accuracy record in terms of this. We just go with the probabilities as they're presented, I'd say as professionally as possible in terms of the as the literature, it is literature. I understand that, guys. It's like 600 pages of literature. You want me to read that to trade? Maybe you don't have to, right? Maybe we can stick with the basics, core essential, rising wedge. We broke down into a bullish feature, right into that bullish feature. So on the breakdown here, were we to achieve a breakdown, I'm going to call it an achievement because we've already achieved this 1, 2. That second wave down, if we could get up and down, it would be nice to formulate something in line with this bullish pattern. So that's the bottom line. Is we're looking at the probabilities right now. We're looking at a potential, and we haven't given up this top line feature. We just have not. We were looking on the 5-minute at that reversal. We're currently testing that line of resistance across the top in terms of the price is 44,345. We are testing this right here to see if we can formulate ourselves something bullish in the form of, it could be something up in this zone. I'll just tell you, we have a big, I'd say quite a bit of a, what we just call this kind of externalized feature here of the run up. We're not crazy about this kind of as we would kind of bootstrap this into, or just kind of connect this on through this and include it with this specific run up as well, right? We're kind of playing, we're kind of connecting, connecting something with a divisional, I'd say a divisional separator in terms of that specific amplitude move to the upside. It's just broken. We want that move to be strong to the upside and unbroken, just unintermittent price action. Bam. Thereafter, that does create the expectation of a repeat. Now, it's not always perfect. You guys know that. But in terms of the bull flag, and let's just discuss this as well. We were talking with, I was kind of discussing with VIP last several days, just looking at like how many nice bull flags do we get, right? This is very rare for Bitcoin in the context of two. You have to look at this, guys, two specific, and technically speaking, you guys understand, it helps to talk about the technicals. How many returns to top end of the prior resistance on ascending triangles that we have? I mean, hello, we can't even count how many we had, right? Then it slowed down. It hit it instead of on the line. It started to hit it just bam on the wick. Then the last one, just within like $250, right? So we saw a gradual peel back from that rule that had kind of been established in the market, and we saw the evolution of that. So in terms of the market presentation, looking at this right here, technically is a very important thing to recognize. We have two rising wedges, boom, boom. We have two bull flags, okay, at the central portion of those rising wedges. All right, the first rising wedge accomplished itself in terms of being bearish. That was an accomplishment. The pour down through from the resistance through the support, boom. Expectation was met. Now, in terms of the secondary feature, understand, I say the main complication that we have is the transition between the lines and the candles. I'll try and stick on the lines. But as you understand the candle framework right now, we have to, almost by the right of inclusion here, or the right of completeness, we almost have to include this, that we're currently within this rising wedge already, guys. So as you look at maintaining the line of support, or the top resistance as the support, which is what the lines, okay, the candle wicks, understand, the candle wicks are going to represent the price action on the lower time frames. All right, this is on the 30-minute. So the candle wicks show us what the line is on the 5-minute. All right, so that's the entirety of the price action. You guys know that. We all know that. So as we look at this on the lower time frames, for smaller moves, we can say this: lower time frames for smaller moves tend to govern. You guys agree with that? For smaller moves, lower time frames tend to govern, right? For macro moves, I'll say for macro moves, we look to macro charts. We just do. Like for the daily, we look for the weekly, etc. Right? So for the smaller moves, the smaller time frames tend to govern. I think maybe that's just something. You guys let me know if you agree with that or disagree with that. Particularly with the much smaller moves, the much smaller time frames govern. But on the 30-minute or so, as we would talk about this, we're not potentially, and I'll say this: you'll find some small moves on smaller time frames which tend to govern the entirety of it. Okay, so there's a reason we spend time at those lower time frames. Looking at the bullish features, honestly, as we just recap the last week to, as I would just kind of get back through this zone, the week to 12 days here, we couldn't have asked for too much better of a trading I say sequence here with two bull flags. I mean, it's been spoiling us. All right, I will say, given the fact that we were also here, and just understand, please tune into this, guys, and we were also here within the threshold of the 50%, huge deal. Right on target, right? Here in the threshold of the 50%, we have had some nice trading opportunities, okay? And to the extent that we would get into some of these specific patterns here and even look at some of these as bull flags, if you weren't really heavily, I'd say dependent or in a heavy compliance mode in terms of your specific patterns. And I'll just say compliance because sometimes people will not want to stretch the definition at all. They will want a strong boom move to the upside. They will want an exact channel here, right? This could have been the framework of a specific falling wedge. I'll give that to you. To the extent though that either with a wedge, or we can say with a wedge here. I remember interpreting that in a compressed format, okay, in a compressed format, and giving this just essentially with a bull flag interpretation. Very steep, etc. in this initial move, but when we saw the carve up here, right? Now we can debate whether or not it was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A, B, C, and up and out on the probably on the A to B move, really in the rejection of the C in terms of an Elliott wave. We can discuss whether or not this fits within the classical definition of a bull flag. What I'm going to say is I saw it then, okay? I saw it then, even with this abrogated kind of choppy move to the upside. The fact that we have had this degree of positive patterning along with the specified target zone here of the 50% retracement, guys, this has been a nice trading, I'd say a nice trading environment for everybody. And you're not supposed to nail them all, guys. You're not supposed to get them all, guys. In terms of like the last 78 days, it's built to where you may get 4 to 5 to 6 in a row. You may get 10 in a row. Right? I always challenge people: can you book 10 trades in a row? If you can, then up the amount that you're trading. Right? Before you do that, make sure you can book at least 5 or 6 in a row. Can you book 10 in a row, right? If you're willing to compound down into the lower levels, include that in your trade, increase your exposure at a lower cost basis, right, at a lower cost, and achieve more coins, then that makes that equation a little bit easier. So I challenge you guys, as you look at things, to go through that framework. Can you book 10 trades in a row? I know that you can if you do it right. And I know you guys can do it right. So I encourage you on that, right? As we look at 2022, it'd be a great way to harness in your skills. So looking at the potential for a bull flag, there were a few things going on in here. I'll give that to you guys. So maybe not particularly there, but as we looked at this framework in this zone, and we caught this with that was a baby bull flag up in the top here that we were trying to catch. I remember that one that failed very heavily. Well, looking at the framework here, it's just not bad, guys, particularly with the understanding that the 50% retracement. So I know a lot of people will say, well, Bitcoin's down. No one wants to trade. No one wants to. Man, if you didn't want to trade, honestly, if we didn't want to trade, and you, not particularly you, but guys, I mean, who don't want to trade a bull flag? Who doesn't want to trade a bull flag? And I'll just say some of your altcoins are moving very well. They're doing extremely well. They can produce a lot of profit. They can also eat through your bank account. Guys, you know this. They can eat through your bank account in 0 to 60 in 0 seconds, right? Literally, almost some of those just nosedive. They're capable of it, especially when you get used to the leverage going up, and everything's great, and then the leverage gone. The leverage is gone. So to the extent that you're comfortable with Bitcoin, we find it a great coin to trade, and this has been a nice. The technicals have been very accommodating over the last 70 to 80 days. So while we're not in a perfect situation, I had to adjust the microphone, we're not in a perfect situation in terms of the overall pricing dynamics. We just had a lot of trades here. So I encourage you guys to stay focused on BTC, stay focused on Doge and Sheeb and all the good stuff as well. DOT. What else you got? Let's name out the favorites. What do we got? ADA has done well. AVAX looks like it's doing pretty well. AXS had a huge day. As we look at, I can go through the specific charts if you guys like to. I don't want to lose sight of BTC right now, to tell you the truth. As we look at this, I don't want to miss a move. As we look at, let's see, Doge getting back on board a little bit, doing nice. Found that level of resistance for the VIP in terms of that indicator. Hope we don't have to use that. My pups are going crazy. Hope we don't have to use that indicator again. ETH with a great chart. You guys know the ETH chart right now is a great chart. Really phenomenal. Phantom. Looking at Phantom as a could be soon, right? Gala kind of down there with Sheeb, kind of feeling like down there with Sheeb. A little bit of movement on BTC. That's what I want to watch. In terms of, as we look at, let me see if BTC is going to push down at all. Let's get to a lower time frame here. And yeah, we got rejected at that line of resistance, right? So working on that specific, I'd say that reversal pattern here has been a little bit difficult to the extent that we had in here, and VIP called this in the back. Shout out to Path and Slim, particularly just the most involved in the back. Some guys are working, doing other stuff, and they'll check back in. I see that they're in the room in the back, but Slim and Pathfinder are doing a really great job. To the extent that we had a rising wedge here, no problem. You can see the effect of a rising wedge. Still, the way that you can beat a rising wedge sometimes is with this fan formation, this specific resistance to support, right? And that resistance, if it could flip to support, that would be the way up and around this specific rising wedge here. Right, so pay attention to those specific features as you would look at that in terms of just your toolbox What do you have to beat a rising wedge, right? Well, a fan can do it. A few other things can. So as we look at that, not necessarily the direction we want BTC to go to. Let's see what we have in terms of. Let's see what we have. BTC down 0.15. Not a bad, really bad day. As we look at the 5 minute, maybe a little overly expressed. Let's look at the 1 minute. There we go. Looks like a rebound potential is in order, and you'll see just the small framework of a bull flag right in the middle, right? Just textbook stuff, guys. Nice to see the patterns in terms of the move to the upside, the channel sloping to the downside. You won't see perfect conformance, but you'll see the generalized conformance just to give you the understanding of what the flag is, right? It's one of the primary bullish features of the market. So when you see them, you like to trade them, etc. So nice potential move there. We'd like to get up and over this level of resistance here and get some momentum to the upside. Now, the challenge is, as you guys know, we're trying to pull off this reversal on top of, at the very peak of this, not really at the very peak, but at the, as I would go towards, let's go to this specific framework here. And let's go to, let me get off the 77 minute, let's go to the 30 minute. But in terms of the framework along the top end of the resistance, okay, that is on the line chart. That's where we're at, is just on that, if you just say the top threshold of the resistance, we're just clinging to the resistance on the line chart. It's just, it's not necessarily a very, let's just look at this. Let me do away with these lines real quickly. It's not necessarily a real comfortable place to be, technically speaking. You guys will agree, if you trade a lot, it's like, well, you don't feel like you really belong on this anymore. You've just been grinding along it. You got a nice push. It's nice to see that velocity. We had 2 moments of velocity back in this preceding rising wedge here. Okay, 2 moments of velocity, 1 and 2, right? Now we have the 1. Be nice to get the second one, right? To repeat at least the construction. We have the major, I'd say the primary move in the middle portion being a bull flag on each one. A little bit of variation, a thin consolidation, kind of a stronger consolidation in the second one. Real nice patterning, guys. This is a nice bull flag. A little bit of deviation towards the bottom, but we called this when it was really low in here, and it really wasn't conforming. You guys know that. I'm like, bull flag forming. You guys know that. Like, could it be forming a bull flag? So we got that. The market maker somewhere out there, the exchange is like, okay, go ahead and make it into a bull flag. Sometimes you wonder, huh? It's like, if that you think that a bull flag, go ahead and make that a bull flag. I'm not sure. To the extent that could occur, that'd be fantastic. I doubt that ever occurs, but if it could, that'd be great, huh? They just watch what we're predicting or what we're projecting into the price, like that must be right. They're a good group. They must be right. We don't know who watches our show. Sometimes it gets a little eerie. We're not sure who is watching it in terms of some of the market activity. We're seeing a little bit of a rounding feature here as I cut back away from that line of resistance and support, the resistance to support feature. This rounding feature, you guys know on that specific. You guys know how I am about the rounding feature, right? When BTC starts to round, it's just start to turn into BTC, right? We see this stuff, huh? As we see the framework thrown through this most recent move here, I just get the you get the impression that it's on its ellipse, right? It's something has gone on into the programming feature, something to give it this nature, which is really expressive. It's expressive frequently of BTC. Right, so when I see it, I bring it up to you guys. Whenever I see a rounding feature like that, I always bring it up to you guys because something is going on. I'm just going to tell you something is going on with the price action, with the and guys, the more we trade, you start to see that, and you're like, yeah, it's starting to round. It's starting to formulate some sort of an ellipse. Now, in terms of the other pattern framework that we see clearly in play, let's go ahead and diagnose it from a pure pattern standpoint. Let's go into the details. Now, I'll generally look at a fan if I see some variability on either the top portion, if we're trying to formulate, and let's say this, we don't have a real strong wedge, like a real strong rising wedge. I want a real steep angle to it, right? Or a steep enough angle to it, right? As we would look at it, like a rising wedge, I want it to be up, right? I want it to be rising, right? Not just barely like this. That's not necessarily the pinnacle or the ultimate rising wedge. We really would like a rising wedge to be up, right? So when I see one that's just barely like this, I start paying attention to what else is in play, like a descending triangle. When I see a descending triangle in the market, I really want it to look like this, right? Not to have a variable line of support. I want it to be a flat line of support. So when I see things in the market that start to I'd say indicate that we have something that's a little inexact, right? When I see a level of inexactness on a trend line that seems to be bending, or something else that seems to be coming around the, I'd say coming at the traders through a different angle, or a different, we just pay attention when it seems like there's something else going on, and we try and fit within the framework of what else could be going on, particularly as we would talk about like in the fan. One thing with a fan, you'll never miss the notion, if you're trying to reverse, what you need to do is break this line of resistance. Very easily put, right? You'll definitely fit into the framework. If you're trying to go up, you need to focus on every line of resistance that needs to be broken to achieve your move up. Now we're getting a nice kind of, I'd say, a cross trend line here. That is, I'd say that's very sound, this cross trend line within these previous moves. Now I'll go to the 5 minute. That's on the 30 minute. Let's go in the 5 minute and take a look at this cross trend line in effect. Okay. It may want to angle a bit, and this may be, this is kind of an interesting scenario here, because it would, to the extent that it might want to angle, we may provide some additional room on the downside here. Last night we actually had a move quite aggressive down. If you were paying too much attention and had some weak hands, you probably got washed out of a long. If you were, just sweating while you're watching it, you don't want to do that, guys. You want to be calm, cool, just the same discipline, consistent approach will, they say, will win over time. So from the individuals we see, from the guys we've been around, Big Josh, what's up, Josh? Shout out to $1 Million Champ. He is, and several channels may have $1 Million Champions all over the place. They may have that, but Josh, I specifically put up to the challenge. I specifically put him individually up to the challenge for $1 million. I want you to make, I want you to make $1 million. That's the challenge, right? And so it's nice to have him specifically, not like, oh, there's 10,000 people and someone's bound to win. No, it was just I put him individually up to the challenge, and he decided to do it, and he decided to win. So much different than other channels, guys. I think you can somewhat appreciate that. That's kind of cool. It's cool for Josh, cool for me. Josh, thanks for the credit for that. But you were the one hitting the button, brother. Very, very good in terms of applying the technicals, the fundamentals of technical analysis to the, and guys, so I know they work. We know that, right? So over time, they're going to work. It's just, it doesn't matter sometimes what the market's going to give you, right? Versus, well, it gave the other guy this, it's giving everybody the same opportunity. You may have different focuses, right? And to the extent that to the extent that it requires a lot more patience than what you thought, well, that is a lot of times that is what success is all about. You guys know that. It's just the truth. If it were easy, everyone would be doing it, and they're not. So we are. So, and we're capable of the getting through the tough stuff, and we've done it through the through various retracements on various coins. Excited that on Dogecoin was inspiring everyone to have heavy cash reserves the entirety of the time, and to trade. Along the way down, trade. If a pattern fails, trade. Right, so we're excited about Doge, things like that have capitulated maybe 70, 80, maybe 90% of their value. Right, it is crypto. I'm never going to necessarily dog another group or individual because something's down 90%, unless they sold it to the person and then they literally sold out when the other people are kind of failing on it. That's a little miserable sounding, right? So I don't know. I don't have much of a heart for people in terms of, I'm going to say this in terms of like, the competition in the market. I don't feel like that we have competition, but maybe ragging on people because something's down 90%. Yeah, I mean, a lot goes down like 70 and 80% all the time in crypto. You guys know that. So unless it's like a no utility coin, it's like just a quack coin or something like that. Just know your limits, know your thresholds. Like a quack coin, all right, well, just it got shot out of the air and it's gone. That's just know when a quack coin shows up, it's just going to be a quack coin and that's it. It's over. Don't have your hopes up. Don't read too much into the crypto stuff. Not that we want to participate in those. We certainly don't. We always look for utility, dev team, management team, etc. We want that quality product. Without a doubt. So looking at this, I'm just framing this up technically. Sometimes I'll just talk while I am framing something up technically. Just to put this in the framework of the cross trend line here, the resistance here to the general levels of support, right, in this area here. We could even raise this a level. This would just be kind of some work I would do kind of on the side in terms of laying out these specific features aside from the fan, just going through the different levels of where, I say the current level of consolidation. And BTC, as you guys know, this likes to move, consolidate. Now we would like to at least moved and then consolidated at the higher level as I discussed this framework here, I'm putting it into, I'd say, into a bit more technical framework because we are at the top of that specific, of this specific rising wedge. That's going to make things, typically, guys, it makes things a little bit more, it makes the market a bit more jumpy, a little bit less predictable. So as we're looking at the probabilities and saying, well, what's the next move? Where are we at? What are we going to? What's the next trade for Bitcoin? What I'll say is, in terms of the market dynamics, as we would look at the framework of this, we're being on top of this rising wedge, provided some volatility last night. Just pay attention to it. Picked up orders here. You guys know that from the point of a breakout. If we were to go to the Fibonacci's, right, people had orders at that level. Nothing personal. They just had orders. And I'm going to say from the point of breakout, I just did this eyeball, but that's going to be from the breakout on the candle wicks. There we go. Breakout on the candle wicks right in there. Yeah, right into, bam. That's, I'm going to say, just real close, just tooth and nail right there, scalpel level with that 50% retracement. Bam, it just went down to pick them up. Boom, and it brought them up where the targets are really important, right? So sometimes you'll see things that will seem like, well, there's a failure, it's gone the wrong direction. Well, not to the guy that just got picked up at the 50% retracement. For him, he's in the money, right? So that buy support, sell at resistance, we're technically at resistance, right? Within the framework of trade your patterns, right? Buy support, sell at resistance, trade your patterns. So we're in a framework I let you know last night, 5L here, boom, move to the upside. Was expecting that move up along the top of the rising wedge. It is I'd say it's the expectation of the traders. It's not, I don't think it's written down in a book, guys. It could be. I can do some additional research on that, but you guys just know if you trade these a lot, the rising wedge, you'll see this invitation, and I just talked about this. I spoke about it in that regard. You'll see the invitation to get buyers to participate up and above the wedge, right? The continual invitation as the price moves up. Boom, boom, it's clicking, going along, and that's a dangerous area to be involved in, right? The guy who won here, just so you know, the guy who won was the guy who had his target set, right? The guy who had his Fibonacci from the breakout to the top line candle wick, right, to that 50%. Boom, he's in here. He's the guy who won, not the guy in here clicking away and going long up in this area, right? The guy who set his target lower. He may have had targets all the way down through the golden pocket, through the 786, through that 86, right? That 86, my custom level, which does play quite frequently. I'd love to see that, especially on BTC. Let me go 86 fib mod. There you go. Yeah, that 86 is also indicated. So as we look at the current status here, right, we're currently, now as we look at targets and we get back into the kind of the threshold of the target work, now instead of a complete breakdown, this thing's going to break down. Well, now in the framework, just understand this, as we put this into context, we just talked about the preceding level. You guys can understand this very well. The preceding level is, and this is maybe good news, you can think about this the right way, right? In the preceding level, let's get rid of this thing. In the preceding level, well, okay, there was a breakdown, there's a pickup. Yeah, the market came down and picked up that 50%, right? And you can adjust always. If it didn't pick you up, I'm going to say play a little more aggressively. Notice the market conditions. Maybe you need to play a little more aggressively on your pricing, right? If it picked up and went below, maybe you're a little bit too aggressive on your pricing, right? So a little more conservative, a little more aggressive. You guys will get the touch of that. And you'll start to understand, well, that was just it. 2 trades this week, I didn't get picked up. All right, well, maybe you'll make adjustments next week and get all of them picked up, right? Or maybe you'll get another 2 next week. And maybe that's just the way it's going to go for you. You're just a little bit more conservative, right? If you're only trading 2 per week, then maybe you're extremely way too conservative, right? So we want you to be balanced, right? It's important. Looking at the framework here, okay, we would be invited to kind of adjust our Fibonacci's just a bit to kind of work into the framework of this preceding wick potentially here. And I kind of caution to do that because of the rising wedge. I'll just bring it back for an instant here. Because of the rising wedge, I'm just going to say we may want to accomplish some levels in line with that original line. But if we were to move this in line with the wick, right? Some people are trading right now from wick to wick on the fibs. You guys know that, right? So what are they doing? What's the overall? If we get away from these designated cross resistance lines, as we get away from the I'd say the downward, what would we say, descending triangle, right? Descending triangle has a defect, this hole right here, right? So we would expect the descending triangle to be a smooth line of resistance across the top. That would be invited by the traders. We don't necessarily have that. Were we to complete this to the downside, let's just move this. It's going to depend on candles or on the lines. You guys know that. right? But we would essentially look for the amplitude move of this and bring that down to any point of breakout. So we'll leave this right here, okay? And I'll fashion that up along these lines, assuming we're not at that top threshold. Now, you'll see a lot of these with a defect in it, and it'll say, well, the buyers will go ahead and give that top threshold to the lower target as well. You guys know that, right? You'll see that as well. So in terms of the, let's just do this breakout from this point to this point, again at that 50% level pickup. You see that 50% level there? Let's go ahead and draw these up to this level as well. Let's go ahead and draw these up to, let's just do this and see what overlap we get. That's going to be an interesting, I say technical analytic as you look at, well, why do we have all these targets here? That doesn't make any sense. Well, is there any overlap? Is there any kind of overlap between the two targets? Okay, from this base point here, this is very interesting here, guys. Pay attention to this. As we look at this previous pour down here, it's a little difficult to see through. So let me uncloud this just a bit. Let me take some of these colors off so you guys can see what you're looking at. And hope you guys are doing well today. Start of the weekend. VIP in the house. What's up? I want to shout out to all of the VIP members, the base campers, the subscribers. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is London with Bitcoin Spike, and we appreciate you guys being around, and particularly to our VIP top shelf members, guys. And they get the, I'm going to tell you guys, if the boat had to leave tomorrow, I'm going to tell you guys they're on the boat. If the boat has to leave tomorrow and you're not on the boat, well, you're not going to, base camp's still going to be in base camp. VIP going to be gone. Where'd they go? They went off on the boat. I got to tell you guys, if the boat's leaving tomorrow, yeah, they're going to be on the boat. So you guys have to know that. I hope you guys get on the boat if you're not on the boat already, or at least get on the list to be on the boat. I mean, we will talk about the boat if you guys want to talk about the boat, but it's a general expression as we would discuss that. Okay, so generalized framework of thought. We're not giving away a boat or boat rides. It's just, are you on the boat or off the boat? Okay, so in terms of base campers, we want you on the boat. Get on the boat in terms of your trading. Get with it. So looking at this point of breakout to the top in line with this point of, let's say this point of breakout to the top, yes, that feature number one. Feature number two, this specific drop in, and correction on that. Yeah, it is from the point of breakout to the top, just to mind ourselves, to mind myself. In terms of this secondary feature, the secondary list of targets here, this seems complicated. I'm going to tell you the overlap in terms of this can be very, very productive if you incorporate it with your patterns. Kind of an advanced section here that you guys would go through, and you know this. From this wick to this wick, bam, second set of targets, right? Okay, we're seeing an overlap right now with both this specific line right here, okay, this dig down to the 50, right, as you guys remember that 50 measured from here to here, right, that specific framework, your patterning tool, or your targeting tool, your targeting tool from the point of breakout to this high, that 50% retracement, bam, right now is your golden pocket. All right, so that is your golden pocket is measured on the targeting tool from the low to the high, okay, of this entire recent last day plus. Okay, so pay attention to that. Last couple of days really is back into this area, but just last day plus. So as we would discuss that, I look for confluences. I'm looking for a potential major trade, and what I would say is in line with the specific pattern formation that I have to deal with. Okay, if I can find another feature. Now this is a little bit difficult right here. This is why we like good patterns. We'd like to see clean patterns. The reason being, we'd love to find another pattern, and I'm going to say on the lines or the candle wicks, check both of them. Maybe 5 minutes. It would take you 5 minutes to maybe try and set up a trade like this. You guys have to admit it might be around 5 minutes, okay, that you would look at it and say, okay, from the point of initiation breakout here to the top on wicks, from the pour down here to the top on wicks, 2 intervals of specific targets, looking at the candle wick formation. Again, if I take it to the lines, okay, if I take it just to the lines, and you'll have different time frames, the candle wicks will be expressive of the entirety of the time frame at the lower level. What I'll say is this, is I'm talking about the perfect patterning. When we take perfect patterning for granted, like this was nice on the candle wicks, etc. Nice. This here, albeit the middle of the centralized portion of the ascending wedge, nice. So when I'm talking about, like, we've had great conditions here, a lot of ascending triangles, bull flags, etc. Just realize in terms of scoping out your targeting, sometimes it'll be perfect. Sometimes you won't have to worry about it. You'll have 2 or 3 primary levels that completely lay over each other. It's just an absolute no-brainer. It is just easy, right? You're going to have, you're going to do your charts. Let me see what I got here. You're going to do your charts, and it looks like they were just made that way, right? They were literally like someone just made these up, and they're all calculating. You have all your specific specific targets, just 100%, no problem. As we would look at the previous breakdown, it would make sense as well that the traders may try and retest a previous low. If you trade Bitcoin a lot, you know that. I'm just saying that because orders are likely stacked up at this level. You guys know that. They're likely stacked up at this preceding intermittent lower point here of the support, right? So in addition, they're likely stacked up here at these preceding levels of support before you were to give up on the entirety of this specific range. The fact that BTC is traded so heavily on leverage, you guys need to know a 1% move makes people money. Okay, a 0.5% move makes people money. Okay, just it does with big time traders that are trading the right way. Even smaller traders, you can notice you get 2% on a 5L position, etc. Okay, it's that's 10% on your position. You can start to appreciate the earning dynamics that there are in or the profit dynamics. Let's say the profit dynamics. Say the pros are there to earn, but in the aspect of the dynamics in play, just understand that a small percentage move can be a big gain. So especially when it starts to really move, boom, boom, we really feel that impact quite a bit on Bitcoin, right? And it hasn't gone screaming up to the upside with a 30 or 40% move over a period of a few hours. However, we've had multiple hits. Again, to reframe this, we've had a multiplicity. I'm not selling you Bitcoin. I promise you, I don't want to sell Bitcoin at all. 30 to 35% move. You guys know that if we go down into the specific move that we had was down from this pivot, boom, 33%, 35% was one move. The next move over 30%. This next move here, these smaller moves here have been decent, 10 to 15% since that recapture in here, or at least even the breakout. We've had good price volatility. Okay, and a lot of volatility here. You guys know it's been a lot of fun. We've been challenged by Bitcoin recently. So let's dig into these lower time frames again and just kind of reframe. But you guys get the idea when I say targeting. Like, oh, you're talking about setting orders below. Oh, I see. So, and it's in the framework of this, guys. So I would look at the, you say, well, it's because people get a bad impression. We say, oh, it's bearish. Oh, it's bearish. Well, understand what bearish means. Bearish means this. It's going to break down out of this wedge by the probabilities, which I stated then. You know, the probabilities are it's going to break down from this pattern. Great. Break down into what? Break down into just as bare bones as we can make it, very simplistic so that everyone could understand this. Yeah, just a breakdown into, right in through, if we go to the candle wicks, etc., likely right into your 38.2%, 38.2% target on the candle wicks, picking up those orders right there. So break down into your targets. So understand that your pattern, your complement to your rising wedge is what? It seems like what right now? Your targets, right? You have a bearish pattern you're looking at. Well, what are you going to do about it? We could traject through the upside. We could beat the odds. Maybe you want to carry a long position, right? But as you look at the fix or the solution for a standalone rising wedge, it is what? It is your targets. All right. Now we can discuss as well whether or not you have completed the expression of like an Elliott wave finality in terms of you have no more hope of going up even after a recoup. That's a different discussion right now. Right, if we had completed a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, however we would want to denote that, there was no chance of us really going up with any reasonable expectation of technical analysis, right, including wave formation, etc. We were bounded above; it just wasn't going anywhere. Then you're still going to have your targets. You may want to adjust your targets, right? Or you may operate with the same level of targets, irrespective of, or the same, degree of aggression on your targets in terms of being aggressive or conservative. The same layout in terms of your money flow while you're operating at a range, irrespective. You may be at a level up along the top, and you may not even care that you're in a rising wedge. You may say these things are so unpredictable. Bitcoin is so unpredictable. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to lay out this specific entirety of this range right here. Bam. I'm going to lay out this range right here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, let's say 7 targets. I am going to place money at these targets, and I want to see if it wants to go up. That's great. I have a carry position, kind of an alpha that I have, and I just want to see, does it want to pick up my targets, right? Understanding in the preceding levels, it wanted to pick up quite a few of your targets very aggressively, right? As you look at these here, this is why you need to be prepared, guys. Oh yeah, I wanted to pick up your targets. without a doubt it was going to go pick up your targets right in through this whole area, just boom, all the way down through. So as you would look at this, just understand, like, there's a catch for every for every easy solution. We would not just draw the targets out like that. You guys know we have a little bit more of an advanced process in terms of including lines of support, resistance across this preceding zone. You guys know we get into buy it support, sell it resistance. So your calculated targets become, I'd say, necessarily. And that's a good follow-up, as we would talk about, like what would the fix to the rising wedge be? Well, it's also going to be, we're also going to have some, let's see here, some, say, cross-trend lines from our patterning, right, from the preceding level of the bull flag. We'd also have that in play. There are orders waiting at that level right now on the different time frames, right? There are orders waiting at that specific level right now, and a very interesting level to see right now as we would talk about the Fibonacci's, and just to elevate the discussion a little bit here as price just ticks up a bit. Nice on call. As we would talk about the this specific move here, let's see what was caught here as we talk about buy it support, sell it resistance, okay, and that takedown to the preceding. As we remember, guys, take down to the preceding, and just pay attention to this. Take down to the preceding, what was that? That was right at the 50% retracement on the preceding level, right? Okay, what else was it? Check this out. What else was it? It was exactly I don't want to say exactly, it's par on par right now with what I'm looking at on the screen. In terms of the specific line of resistance to support, very close. You guys draw it out on your screen. It may be within a few dollars. They may have played a little aggressively or otherwise. But as you look at this dynamic of the resistance cross line into the support, that would be one of the instances that I would say this, that you were able to find and project ahead of time with some work. I mean, you're drawing your lines out, etc. You're literally drawing your lines of resistance to turn into support, right? That's one of the dynamics that a line of resistance can play. But as you look at that, well, what would you guys fashion up to be a level of support here, a nice entry here? Well, we have this specific level of resistance, which could turn into support, matching up with the 50% on the Fibonacci. Crucial level, bam. Beautiful, beautiful in terms of the confluence, the overlap there, very well indicated. You guys see that? So when I'm going through these, the lines up above here, when I'm going through the different kind of diagnostics, that's a very good template for us to kind of recapture just what's gone on recently. And I know you guys receive that in terms of just the level of prior resistance to support in line confluent with that specific Fibonacci. That's an ideal situation of what we're looking for, and it's just ideal that it's played itself out like that. I hope you guys received a little bit of positivity in terms of your understanding of maybe one of the best ways to pattern up something like this, even when you don't have, or especially when you don't have the perfect technicals. Kind of a descending triangle into a different framework at the lower time frames. But that descending triangle is coming on pretty strong, right? We would expect, this is worrying me a little bit, because we would kind of expect a descending triangle at this specific level of the top of the price action. I just say worry me a little bit out of fun, because anytime Bitcoin has wanted to express itself very clearly, it has not done so quite so clearly. Okay, and I kind of joke about that in this preceding zone here. You guys will recall we were streaming live here. We have really nice descending triangle. Let's discuss this live, right? And then yep, here we go, and right up through the top of it. It's supposed to break to the downside. The equivalent move of this. And there's a lesson on this, guys, a little reminder on this in terms of the move to the downside. But we had stated that we know top of the rising wedge. You guys know this. Top of the rising wedge. Be prepared for anything. Be prepared for a head fake, a juke. Be prepared. Be prepared for inconsistent behavior on your patterns, etc. Just be prepared for it. You're at the top of a line of resistance, holding that line of resistance when that line of resistance, you're holding it as support when that line of support is not supposed to hold technically as support. Okay, so people are kicking trades in and out of bam, bam, bam. It's just it's an unpredictable, highly volatile area of the price action. The forecast is in terms of rain or sunshine, it is a bearish pattern. That's it. All right, that's it. And based on the probabilities, that's what you'll see as you look at the fix for it. Well, we don't want to pour down. Well, great. Have a carry position and make sure that you compound into and cover yourself on your Fibonacci's. Very easy. Start working with your lines of cross resistance. Very easy, right? Not only on the specific line chart, but also on the candle wicks, right? You guys are there. You know what I'm talking about. The extent, we don't want our, we don't want the patterns to be, or the technicals to be too chaotic. We just don't. But from the kind of a macro sense here, as we would look at that, we want them to be expressive of just pure technicals in terms of like this preceding function here. As we went through that, it wasn't maybe the best setup for it, but in terms of that cross resistance that we saw on the candle wick here, boom, boom, it's been my pleasure to discuss the detailed framework of targeting and how your targets can complement and ultimately beat a rising wedge. Okay, because we need to know that. As a trader, you need to know that. It's a rising wedge, it's over. Oh no, it's over. No, you can target it in different circumstances. A rising wedge doesn't have to be the end if it's a part of a different pattern as well. Now, we did discuss in the main video for today also on YouTube, just a real quick something to bring you guys, was that inverse head and shoulders, right? So we have a few patterns in play here. This is not typically, as you look at this, as you walk back into the office or walk back into the trading room, it's not typically the type of pattern that you would just see just crank to the upside without just a real bull run. I'm going to say this, guys, in terms of a real bullish structure, real bullish sequence, the condition of the market, and everyone's just going. We're pushing, we're going. I mean, when you look at this, you just walk back in and see the computer screens like this, like, well, it's a little tough. It's kind of hanging out there on the ledge. And let's see, heard something about a boat. There you go. Nice. There we go. Nice to see that. I didn't know we had that icon. Boom. There we go. Very cool. Nice path. Huh? Boom. Nice. Just reading the comments right now with Pathfinder. Boom. We have a lot of fun streaming. We have a good time. We have a good group. So looking at this framework, it is extended, it is carried out, it is at the top threshold of this bearish pattern, and it's it just framing this back, and you guys will get a joke, and he will too, in terms of Ricky Rick. I'll call him Ricky Rick. He's a very accomplished businessman, etc. He is retired, and he does just fine in terms of on his own. But another guy, big position on Bitcoin. Well, what do you think it's going to do? Where's it going to go? Is it going to go up or down? The classic, right? The classic, I need you to tell me if it's going to go up tomorrow. Really? Wow, that's good. And if I do that, what? That's the other question. If I do tell you it's going to go up tomorrow, then what? It's like, well, I'll be impressed. Well, I ain't looking for you to be impressed, guy, at all. I'm going to tell you that neither is VIP. So you go get that information from the guy who's going to tell you wrong 10 times in a row. We're going to apply our strategy, and when we know it's going up, we're going to play heavy. How about that? And until then, we're just not looking for. We're not looking to impress people at all. We want to master the market, and it takes time and sweat and energy, and more emotional control than most people will really realize that is involved in the market. It just does. And off the cuff, I'm tough as you and I can do it too, doesn't cut it. The old, is it going up or is it going down, is the stupidest question in the book in the market. I'm going to tell you guys that. You have to be able to prepare yourself and cover yourself on the downside. If you don't cover yourself on the downside, you're going to be on the wrong side at some point. I'm going to tell you guys that just 9 times out of 10. If you do not cover yourself on the downside, you're going to be on the wrong side. 9 times out of 10, guys? You guys trade a lot, That's the truth. So you have to cover yourself with that, and just tough love in terms of the answer. You have to cover yourself in terms of that position, right? You just have to, and that's not a cop out. But I don't like easy answers typically. It's not. And the market just doesn't deliver them like that. The amount of time that you've seen go into this, the framework of this analysis here, to discuss and get down to one of the techniques here. I mean, people just show up, or they would want an easy answer, something else like that. I'm just going to show them in 2 seconds this, that, incorporate with the Fibonacci's, with the preceding pattern framework here with the weekly, etc. And just, here you go. By the way, I don't even want to give you my business card, but let me tell you how to make $50,000, $60,000 tomorrow. There you go. Boom. No, that's not how it works. It's not how it works. You guys know that we value each other's degree of and skill set in the market. We just do. And for those who are developing it, we encourage you to further develop it. And that is the bottom line. We encourage you to further develop your skill set so that you can compete with those in the market. We shout out to Angel Matos, who is a very strong competitor in the market in terms of his positioning in Bitcoin, etc. $7.79. So he likes that competitive environment, looking for a little bit of a breakout to the upside from this descending triangle. We all know in terms of the complexities of the descending triangle, this intermittent high here. If I could reframe back to, and VIP have this, it's funny, the next thing you're going to have in the VIP, they know what I'm about to get to here, is this attempted fan reversal. And you guys know, as we were watching this fan reversal earlier on, you know this, and it's like, man, it just doesn't ever look like it's really going to complete once it retouches this bottom line prior resistance here for the second time. You guys know that, right? So we're still in flux in terms of this specific formation here. Let's see what we got. And let's see what we got. And we might want to push this out just a touch, the different time frame. That's on the 5 minute. I think we drew it on the 5 minute. Looking at how to beat a descending triangle, I'm going to throw in the mix also a fan. You guys know it can occur, and also with a variable level of support, it may be flat out indicated, okay? You guys know that, okay? This primary line, secondary, the support, let's go to the resistance, that resistance level to a support, right? If we go to the candle wicks, I drew this and have to redraw it a little bit. In terms of tightening these up, you'll have to work on your lines, but just to know what the market is looking at. The top shelf traders right now, what are they looking at? Yes, they're looking at an internalized, as we talk about the internalized rising wedge here, okay? And shout out to VIP in the back. They picked up on that without a doubt. I'm normally the one to draw the first line of resistance because if we want to reverse, I know we have to beat a line of resistance. That's it. Right? If you want to go up and you have a line, I promise you, if you want to go up above that line, you're going to have to break through the line. Okay? And to the extent that it's already established as a resistance, you're going to have to beat that first line of resistance. That is that's the requirement for reversal. However you look at it, wherever you're at, if you're heading down and you have a line of resistance, you need to beat that line of resistance and be prepared that that line of resistance may operate as support. That's the dynamic within which you put the framework of support and resistance. Prior resistance into support. So we have this framework well in the back already in terms of this potential for a completion move. Bit of variability across the top. Trying to do this on top of the rising wedge is not a simplistic endeavor. You do know that I've drawn this out, and it's something that I have been looking for. I'd like to see some sort of a formation, something along the lines of this in terms of a potential for a move up, and you understand that this corrugated area in here, kind of this pause in the price action, that is working to the deficit of a continuation pattern to the upside right now. It's just we would prefer to have. Preference is a strong move to the upside. Boom, uninterrupted. That interruption is not necessarily welcome by the traders. So as we look at the price action, let's review it real quickly. 0.18% up, 44,393. We will probably see Bitcoin put everyone to sleep and then surprise everyone again. What has not surprised everybody? Rune has been slamming. You guys know Rune has just been up and out and killing it. Has been doing well, like really well. Let's just measure Rune. I want to take a look at Rune. Now, it did get hacked. You guys know it got hacked last year. Up 230% in a month. That's not bad. 230% in a month. That will do. Not badly done. Shout out to Angel. I know you are doing well on Rune. I am very glad to be able to have brought that to the group. I know they had a kind of an unexpected event with that hack last year, but who can argue with 230% in a very short time frame? As we would look at the specifics here for the descending triangle, just make sure that that's built into the componentry of your framework here. Now, we talked about Rune last year. Rune was very, very positively scoped. Look at that in terms of Rune, a move of what is that, 400%. So this move, if we could recapture up to that level of resistance, would be 200 and about 300% move to the upside. So it looks like that is in play. Congrats to VIP. I brought Rune to the group last year, and it came from a very kind of sophisticated business contact of mine. Surprisingly, just not surprising that I would have a business contact, a very sophisticated business contact, but to the extent that he is a big, heavy hitter, major player, wealth manager for some of the major primary guys that maybe a few of the guys you know and you see all the time on TV. Big time dude, good friend of mine, old friend of mine, good guy. So looking at near potential move to the upside, 30+%, ascending triangle. I'd take a look at that. You guys looking at near? The market is. Take a look at near. I've been bringing that up to VIP. Very nicely done on Ape as well. Ape seems, I don't know. Ever since the robot rebels seem to like kill the new ICO action, but robot rebels went 30x in, what was that, guys? In 30x in like 15 days. That's pretty impressive. So looking at a few features for you to potentially trade tonight or the next few days. Rune is up and making headway again. Okay, Ape is in a pretty decent, as we would look at the preference for the nice move to the upside, is in a pretty decent bull flag right now. Just that we know the preference has not been established in terms of a clean line to the upside. Should we start here? Should we go here? Like, this is the problem with a framework of something that's just not clearly running to the upside. So we would expect to break out and move to the upside, but it's going to be up to the traders. It has had a good rebound since 65%, since that golden pocket, right between 35 and 50% to the upside. We call it that descending triangle at the top. Glad that we did. I like to call the tops of these new coins, etc. So let's see. Let's get into this. Is some coins you guys may be looking at. One is on the burner. Jasmine been doing pretty well also. And let's see what we have. Dun, 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 dun. Potential with Jasmine. There we go. All right. Potential with Jasmine to be in the framework of and already they can break out early, but of this bull pennant move to the upside will be nice to see that repeat on Jasmine. Just and I bring up the hack on Rune last year just to discuss the basics of it, guys. Jasmine could move for another 60% if that is indeed recognized in terms of that pennant. It may benefit it to actually touch back down to support. To tell you the truth, may not get the chance. Gala is just low. We want Gala to pick back up. It's kind of down there with Sheeb. You guys know Sheeb and Gala got up to a real huge boom. Nice start here after that 786 retracement, 78.6%. Went up 123% since then. Very nice. Gala Games, $100 million game fund. As you guys know, $100 million in terms of their game funding in the crypto space. So it's a real deal. They have a real utility going on. Atom, Cosmos, you guys know I've been saying one of the best charts in the crypto space right now. Just very pleasing to look at in terms of the technical performance. It is what it is. It may not be the fastest moving coin right now. When it gets up and out, it is up and out, and it's a good coin to trade. I just tell you, from a framework of technical analytics, this is a nice chart. People like this chart, okay? People who aren't necessarily in a hurry to make money today or tomorrow or whatever it may be. It's like, under the gun to make money. I just tell you, this is a very nice looking chart, okay? The extent to which the candles push down, we would prefer to have that line of support angled up on this Cosmos, guys, just in terms of the chart. Those ascending triangles. Very, very nice. The upside completion to that from the current price would be a move of 157%. So very, very, very well done. And let's see. Shout out to Angel. I know that he's trading Rune and has been. Rune hit my classic 86. So shout out to VIP as well. In terms of the completion of that down, Rune literally slammed into my 86% retracement. Shout out to anybody who's using my classic 86. It applies to Rune, it applies to Doge. In terms of the most recent hits on that classic 86 that you might want to add to your specific Fibonacci's. You'll see that this is not as pleasing as the Cosmos chart, right? Barely any ascension there and a descension here in terms of a swing failure on Phantom. So we would see Cosmos as being potentially a little bit more interesting than Phantom, at least structurally speaking, in terms of that ascending triangle. However, that's no guarantee that Phantom will not outperform Cosmos, you guys know that the market is the market. The variability sometimes is welcomed by the market. Rose, looking at that pickup at the golden pocket. Let's go. Ample's nice as always. Breakout. A lot of these coins are breaking out. Matic did break out of a really frustrating kind of stodgy looking wedge. So it's not that bad on this time frame. On the daily, I'll say that the candle action gets a little bit more, a little bit less. I'd say just less attractive looking for the traders, but Matic is up and out. That's nice to see. Matic maybe wants to move a little bit. We'd like to see Matic move. So just a little quick review of some of the techniques or some of the patterns in play, and just kind of go through what I go through as you guys see within the last several hours, kind of the techniques that have been discussed. It's not all just talk, right? It is application of cross trend lines, right, on the candle wicks. 2022, go to the candles, right? It is maintaining and seeing the price action up and above, as we discussed, this specific rising wedge, right? Once here, right? Twice here, once here. We get twice here, would be nice to see some additional action. But the cover and the solution for how do you beat a rising wedge that's a standalone function? Well, targets. Right, as we look at this specific area here, it was a target. As we look at this specific pour down already, and also in line with the target, we would say we probably do this here as well, right? In terms of this specific move here, which was part of a different framework that was in play in a differentiated pattern, but looking at this cross trend line as well, that's another feature of a cross trend line, the resistance to the support. Resistance, which wound up being the overall resistance line here to that eventual support there, which identifies it as a cross trend line. That's the definition of a cross trend line. It is a resistance line through here. Once it picks up as support, bam, that is your cross trend line now. So we're always looking at cross trend lines. We're always looking at buying at support, sell at resistance. When we say that, those cross trend lines are just really, really hugely important when you look at covering your current position. And you guys, you'll know, like a bull flag, I mean, people play this a little bit differently than just a typical standard carry position, right? If we can get up and out and confirm the top level of resistance as support, boom, they're typically played a little bit heavier, right? A carry position, etc. If we have a clear upside target, then we're golden, right? Then and that would be the ultimate question here. Do we have any clear upside target that we are looking at right now? I guess I'm bringing this into kind of a level of understanding / somewhat at least understanding, if not caution, because we're perched up over a rising wedge. It's technically a bearish feature. Okay, to the extent that we have the upside target in line at least with, we could go to the inverse head and shoulders on that. We did that today, right? That inverse head and shoulders. I mean, we could go up to a target of 47, I think, with that inverse head and shoulders. To the extent that, well, let me actually look at this, because let me make sure on that. We have a few different targets up here with a 46. Let's get into the most immediate target action, okay? You guys know the preceding high needs to be beaten. These need to be beaten in no uncertain terms. The $45,000 range, as we start talking about upside ranges, those upside ranges are critical. And I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually go to the back right now, and I appreciate the VIP so much. Luke is here. What's up, Luke? Nice. London, great stream. Awesome, TA. Really appreciate all the knowledge you are sharing with us, VIP. Yo, hey, Luke in the house. I'm glad that you appreciate it, Luke. I know that you guys are soaking it all in. It's just good stuff, and it's just, we have to review it. Technically speaking, I'm the same way, guys. I put a book down. I put a Wall Street Journal, Financial Times down, and 10 minutes later, it's like, what was that article about? Like, if someone didn't remind me about it, sometimes I wouldn't remember it. Some of these skill sets that we have in play, they're there, but we're not necessarily. We're not consistently reminded of the importance of them, of the application of them, of the interplay. And as a group, I just want to reinforce that in 2022. I just know that being reminded of the fundamentals of technical analysis and being, within that structured framework, that each individual will perform better. I just know that throughout the entirety of the year, right? It's a crucial component. Looking at the upside target, I'm going to say this: looking at the upside target. Honestly, looking at the upside target of this specific, the most immediate resistance that I see in play right now is on the weekly. Okay, on the weekly. So what I started with, it's not ideal. Okay, it's not ideal because it's not as aggressive as we want to be right now. I just tell you, it is not as aggressive as we want to be. You guys know that potentially. But as we talk about this specific pattern right here, to put in the framework of the immediate level of resistance that we currently have, right? It's the carry-up function of the support to the resistance. Boom. And guys, we got within just to discuss it, we got within. I already did that really highly calculative threshold here, but we got within just a what was this, 100? A very, very close proximity to that top line resistance. So we're pushing that resistance, a couple $100, $201 by that measure. So we're pushing that specific level of resistance right now. This is probably the most constricted pattern, and I've been complaining about that all day long in the back. You guys know that. This is probably the most constricted pattern that we have. Most recently, in front of us, level of resistance that I can find within $200. Okay, so this would be the premier initial application in terms of what is occurring there. Now, importantly, you guys know that BSH in the back, the MAC hybrid, on the daily, we are up and over that. That's nice. We will take that. That's a nice. Or on the weekly, pardon me. On the weekly, we are on the weekly chart. We are up and over that. That has occurred. Let's kind of go back through the framework here in terms of being over that. In terms of 2000, let's just say 17, 18, 19, etc. We have trajected up and over and back under. Trajected up and over, back under. Once we can flip it and start to use it as support, that can be nice. Okay, let's look at the price action. Staying above that blue on the BSH is just a, what would you guys say, is a recipe for goodness, for profits, right? So we need that to occur. Okay, I wanted to point that out on the weekly because we had some interaction on some other coins with that specific line. So to the extent that we have variable lines like on the daily, like we would also want to traject up through the daily, a little bit more abrogated, right? A little bit more solidly featured and structured to the downside. We are up and out of this specific line on the daily, which I find relevant. Okay, we're up and out of this last feature here, which we have been counting as that constriction. So to the extent that we want to really blow through just let's hammer down. It's time to hammer down. We could have a hammer down conversation right now in terms of the daily, in terms of this expanded feature, and you guys know that. We could have a big time conversation. Let's roll, let's hit it. We're up and out on the daily of this constriction. I just can tell you right now, we have, and I don't want to change patterns, but what I want to do is work within the framework of what we have here, which is a bearish pattern. Okay, we have a bearish pattern. Could it indicate a specific confirmation in this level? Potentially, right? Could it get up and out of here altogether? Absolutely. We could be having a multi-million-dollar conversation right now. We literally could. You guys need to know that. We could literally be having a multi-million-dollar conversation at most junctures here in terms of the excitingness. Boom, to the upside. We're moving, we're going, we have our structure, our 53,791 target to the upside. We could be doing that. I just want to frame things right now in terms of and you guys have those. You're fully capable of putting those together, etc., without a doubt. Just in terms of, and we're going to get into the framework here as well as we would look at the let's look at this on the candle wick. So we have, let's give the weekly the due credit. Okay, we have the lines and then we have the candles. Okay, let's do this on the weekly since we wanted to kind of close this out. Luke, I appreciate you shouting out, my man. What's up, brother? VIP all the way. As we would look at this specific, and you're most welcome. It's my pleasure to bring technicals to you. As we would look at the specific internal pattern framework, okay, of that specific consolidation, as we would look at this specific consolidation, this larger framework here, let's just remind ourselves. Let's get in and remind ourselves that we're in the lower time frames and the candles to play here. We would be looking at a monster move, right? What I'm a big fan of is the following. Hitting your targets. You guys understand we have a multiplicity of signals being dealt to us on the different time frames, from the line to the chart, or from the line to the candle wick, from the just a host of different patterns at the lower time frame. We're running into, as you look into the framework here, the just kind of this chiseled upward, just real slow grind as we go. Yes, bull flags, right? Nice patterns to trade, but this has been choppy, guys. That has been choppy, right? No, bam, move to the upside. Remember the 10% plus day, 12%, 13% day that we had like recently? Bam, bam, nice moves to the upside. This has been choppy, right? So as we discuss that, just understand that the framework that the current discussion in is that we're in a not just a rising wedge, we're in a choppy rising wedge, right? We have ground down not to a halt at all. We've still had great trades here, but within the framework, as some of the altcoins, really start to pick up. If we want to get really aggressive on things, to me, this is a really interesting top line to discuss. Right, this line, these candle wicks, since we've done so much time on the candle wicks, that's a very interesting line to begin to discuss as we would talk about getting extremely aggressive on like a go-getter basis if you didn't hit your targets. All right, if you didn't hit your targets, hitting your targets, you've already had multiple opportunities to make a greater gain than this would offer. You guys know that. As anyone residual in the marketplace starts to look at trading, you understand the profits in this area already exceed the breakout potential of this pattern. You guys got that, right? It just does. This amplitude carried up, because it originates at a lower price, already outdoes this higher price. The benefit of being at a lower price, just bottom line. So to the extent that this is a well-indicated breakout trade, and you would want to enter into a trade on the line, you're out. You are up and out on the 4-hourly on the lower time frames. On the higher time frames, that's saying working into everything really actually but that lowest time frame. To the extent that we have frustrated right at the wicks at the top, well, we have frustrated. We are up along the top of a bearish pattern, and we would like to see some get up and go. Right? Be prepared for momentum, without a doubt. Also be prepared for covering yourself in terms of a potential move to the downside here. Right? Don't just operate in oblivion that we're out on all the lines. And I wouldn't recommend that you or even think that you would be in some sort of oblivious mood. But in terms of that line of resistance on the candle work is a big deal. Right? We have a bearish pattern even on the candles that's taking formation that could even, tell you the truth, that could even push up and out as we would look at the specific candle work, that could push up and out and over that specific threshold here. So it's going to be an interesting next couple of days here, with the understanding on the actual candle wicks. We're still contained within this wedge, right, which we're going to expect to, like this one, is going to break down. It's bearish, boom, right? No problem. Right, in terms of the features and the pickup, etc. Buy at support, sell at resistance, trade your patterns. We've been going over quite a bit in terms of how to beat the specific rising wedge with targets. You saw in the last number of hours the targets that were hit, etc. For a larger position move, I'm going to restructure everybody right back down here. Boom, 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 boom. Right, the 50%. The secondary target potential double down. Key Fibonacci's bam, bam. To the extent that you would like to go heavier as a practical matter on a breakout, I would just state that I would personally like to see some additional patterning in and beyond a rising wedge. You know, I personally do not like to trade breakouts on rising wedges. Proof positive today as you would look at this. Okay, just to build this into the framework of our discussions. Me saying frequently, I don't like to trade breakouts on a rising wedge. You guys know I say that all the time, right? Rising wedge, bearish pattern. I don't like to trade a breakout on a rising wedge. As we look at this specific framework of the two candle wicks, bam, bam, right? We broke out of that specific line of resistance only to capitulate back onto the wedge. One of the problems in breaking out with a rising wedge. Okay, so to the extent that we can formulate something else here bullish, let's go. I will be plugged into the back with the VIP and DM. We will be going over the critical. We're going to say it's critical, right? We're at a critical zone right now in terms of like the entirety of the discussion right now. Tried to get detailed enough to where you could get through and understand these pickups at this level, were this to turn into another scenario with a slight drop in and a bullish feature, boom and up, right, as detailed as I can get to maximize the efficiency of an overlap, a congruence, or confluence of your cross trend line or your either a support to resistance or flat resistance or support, right? That would be carried through and overlap with even a durational, like even multi-frequency or durational Fibonacci, right? Either one sequence like this or a dual sequence. I'll say a dual sequence with an overlap like this in conjunction with your lines of resistance or support, or your cross trend lines, which are lines of resistance to support, right? So it sounds like a lot. However, you saw how simply it was applied with one line, with one fib, right? One cross trend line it was on that preceding time frame. One cross trend line, one overlapping Fibonacci. That was it, right? So that's just proof that this can be done. It is not an impossible feat whatsoever. What I'll just remind everybody, we're out on the candle, or we're out on the lines. We're not out on the candle wicks. The wicks may have bitten a few people who decided to go in heavy today, and that's not our intention at all. Our intention is to heavy weight down in this zone. You guys know this. I'm going to go back to it. In this zone, right? Once, twice, right? So to where this is very comfortable right now. And yes, you're sitting and it's almost like you've got old money in the market, at some point. But it's only been like 30 days, right? But it's almost like you've got, like, let's say from here, but you've almost got like old money in the market, and you're watching everybody else go different directions potentially on trades, or the market go different directions on trades, when the truth is you kind of got, your money is a month old. It's almost like you got old money in Bitcoin. People want to trade every day and this and that. And so do we. That's part of it. But you're 2 months into this trade potentially. Great if you sold out at this level. You're back in to the 50% here with an equivalent hit. Imagine, right? Boom, equivalent hit. You guys remember, when was that? I was saying, talking about, I don't know if they, good time to cash out and just go on profit. Was it up in here? Do you guys remember that? Maybe you traders want to just, at this point, you could literally take out your entire principal and just roll on profits, quote unquote, in this zone. You guys remember that? Anyway, it was the truth, right? It was a nice deal. In terms of the entirety of the move here, just remember we have that secondary kind of insulary level, the insulary level of the interior and that exterior level of resistance right now that is in play, along with that rising wedge. We would just like to, really the formation here would almost require something along the lines of a retouch on that 4 hourly. So to the extent that you're looking at a bigger deviation occurred here, we just want it, and we don't necessarily have it right now. We want that real strong, just continual churn to the upside. We just don't have it quite yet, right? So to the extent that it's going to require a little patience, let's just recall. Let's note the fact that we did break out on the actual line here on lower time frame. We did, and we've capitulated. What is still in play is the specified rising wedge. And you guys know the video that I did on YouTube. It wasn't a go-getter blockbuster. Hey, here it's all the it's all the way to the moon necessarily, right? Still within the, if you watch the whole video, it's like with the understanding we're still technically bearish on this pattern. Don't want to necessarily say that. It's just the truth. All right, so I'll stick with the technicals. Right now is a huge trade indicated right now to go ahead and go 5L all the way. All the way? No. You want to carry, right, and be prepared to cover your position? Well, that sounds reasonable to me, right? All the time. Sounds reasonable all the time. And the first thing I'm going to ask anybody who asks me that is, did you hit your targets? Did you hit your targets? Did you hit your targets, right? How many times have you traded up along the way, right? Just keep some semblance of reason about your position at all times, period. Just keep and maybe a strong semblance of reason about your positions at all time. Never overexpose at any higher price. And any price could be a higher price in this market, guys, okay? We don't know, honestly, if the reins get cut loose off Russia and Ukraine and everything's a peace deal tomorrow, Just stand back. If honestly, if the Fed decides they come out with a public statement and XYZ occurs, just be prepared. There are some market dynamics going on right now to the tune that we're not in control of the Russia situation or the Fed, et cetera. There's some external pressures on the market right now that we have to pay attention to, and that we realize not the limitations of technical analysis, but really the benefit of technical analysis, because we're able to pinpoint the levels at which we are fully prepared to be exactly precisely involved, right? Like without a doubt, we're able to literally pinpoint those levels at which we're exactly prepared to be involved price-wise, right? Whether it be through a line of support, whether or not it be through, and that's what an advantage, guys, whether or not it be through a Fibonacci, whether it not be through a cross trend line, right? Just hugely beneficial is technical analysis to the entirety of, even if, I didn't want to trade it all, but I'm going to decide I'm going to try and capture 5% in the market. Hey, find yourself a key line of resistance. Is your arrow still down there? You are the man. Huh? You are such a good guy. Love that, Pathfinder. Pathfinder wants a arrow down at, and it's a good question. I have a few different charts. Is the only solution to that. Golden pocket. Are you prepared for the golden pocket? That's not the golden pocket. Let's do the golden pocket. And that's great. Pathfinder wants an arrow down to the golden pocket, and I give it to him every time, right? In terms of the macro, looking at the macro here, let's do the discount levels. Let me get rid of these bull flags. Let's get rid of these. Let's do this real quickly. Let me clean up this chart just a touch and make it a little bit more legible, a little bit more friendly. Got some extraneous items on the map. There we go. So yes, this specific, as we would go to the entirety, the ground zero, meaning zero is the price, right? Zero is the price up to 69,000. Let's do this exactly. 69,000. Boom. Okay. In terms of that, yes, and this is a different chart. I have 2 or 3 different charts for BTC, depending upon what we're going to go over. So in terms of the style there, I'm going to draw an arrow, bam, to this specific zone. That's going to be Pathfinder's arrow, because that's the golden pocket. That is the level to which everything eventually wants to gravitate towards. And you say, well, it's not doing it now. It's, like you're going to win something if you don't get down there and hit your target. Because if you're acting like that, you don't have a target. You're not prepared to operate down there. And I just tell you, if disaster hits, cataclysm, and hits whatever else may occur, these lower targets and the people who are prepared to operate or have orders waiting at these levels can cash in. I will tell you, you will look at some price action from preceding levels. You're like, good gosh, if you just had your pricing, if you just had your orders waiting below, man, you could have made 40% in one day. Man, when the whole market fell apart, if you just had your orders waiting at a lower level, golden pocket for Pathfinder, 65% of a total recoup down. Okay, as you look at that, understand you'll find those circumstances. You will find those instances hit the market when people least expect it. And you'll say, man, the guys, it went all the way down there to pick up those orders, right? So promising you that people have orders at that level, just promising you. It's not a question. It's an industry standard level, right? Is there enough down there versus up here? Where's the demand function right now? Looks like we're going up. We're doing great. We've been doing excellent. We hit the general fib levels twice. Great trading. Great trading. Reminds of this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits along the 50%. Here we had 1, 2, 3 hits along the 50% from preceding 65,000. Right now from 69,000. Right? Feels very familiar. We're in a coil right now. We're in a symmetrical triangulation instead of a descending wedge. All right? Descending wedge really got up and out. Boom. So, all right. Let's see what we got here in 2 seconds. I need to do something. I've been meaning to do something with everything else said and understood. You guys know 100% with everything else said, fully understood, fully in terms of the entirety of the technical analytics. You understand? And I'm being indignant about that because Indeed, that is the Bitcoin bull. Congratulations, you guys are part of history being made through his presentation here to not only you, but to anyone else who may watch this later, or who knows, it may be the Bitcoin Foundation may be after me for the Bitcoin bull. I don't know, guys, but I like him a lot. He's a really cool. He's a cool Bitcoin bull. We're going to discuss one more thing in terms of the presentation of the technicals to the traders this year. As you look at trading, what is presented to the market dynamics, if you have been a bit hammered up by the market, I want you to not worry about it. I want you to get fresh, get that mindset going next. All right, when Bitcoin goes bull, okay, when it goes bull, it means something. It tears up the field. It produces cash. It is the reason we trade. We enjoy it. Same thing Doge. Same thing Sheep. Same thing, guys, a lot of these coins. When they have their off moments, they're off, right? It's not very pleasing, right? You know that. When we step into a phase where nothing can stop it, then you almost deserve the downtime. I'm going to tell you, you almost deserve the downtime. Not necessarily. I'm not going to say you deserve, the bumps and bruises of the market, but I'm going to tell you, right? Like, it hasn't been easy on the way down here, right? Looking at this specific formation here. And this could have technically been a very nice falling wedge here. We could have just trajected like we did here, boom, to the upside. I mean, we're kind of hanging out sideways here for 60 days. It's been pattern upon new pattern upon new pattern upon new pattern for 100 days. You guys are the warriors, literally, in terms of your ability to understand, comprehend, and conquer the technicals. I don't just mean that. I see you in the back. I know who you are. Angel Matos, my man, I know you. 100% I know you, okay, in terms of your positions, and glory on the 5,000% gains that are there, and the struggling hand is still sitting there tight. I gotta hold this one, gotta hold it. I know how that feels, and Angel's one of the first guys to tell you it's not all glory. Like, you look at a higher price coin that's just sitting there, it's not going to hide its face from you one day. Right, your bad positions or your wherever things may falter, and I'll count in anybody in this, any VIP, any trader. It's not going to hide itself from you. The memory of, well, I've lost on that trade. Well, the market's been difficult 100 days here. It's not, the only thing that really makes it go away is the bull run, for whatever that's worth. You guys know. So getting to that moment is not easy. Just remind yourselves of this moment. This was quite a moment. That was over a year, right? That was 472 days. 472 days, right? This one was 481 days. This was 3 years, about 3 years, just ballpark. So that 481 days, whatever it was, that first number. As we look at that, that's about the time that we've spent sideways with multiple intervals of creating 100% on your money, right? It's nice. Very, very nice. As you would look at the requirements to participating in these, these cycles. If you wanted to absolutely break it down to the core essentials of the equationary framework that would be required, a position, period. We would prefer the position to be heavier at lower prices. The ability to, like, say, inject standby or reserve cash, right? B, the requirement that at some point you would have to take profits, period. At some point, you're going to have to take profits, period. Okay, so you're going to have a position, and at some point, you're going to have to take profits. All right? If you take profits, you have to re-enter your position. Real simple. As we look at this right now, the breakout moment, guys, these are easy. These are bull flags. Easy stuff, bull flag. Easy. You guys know that. We found this on the weekly. You guys know that, right? I found this one, right? This whole thing at 30,000. I see something big. You guys know that. Is this something big? Is this something big? I know it's big. On the 4 hourly, you guys know this. the bottom. Boom. The bottom. Our pricing target was the bottom on the 4-hourly. Bam. Us. This group. Okay? Very nicely done. That's very nicely done. That's remembered. I don't know anybody else. I don't even know another, another, investment banking house. I don't know anybody who had a lower target than the 50 that already got hit. This is the deal, guys. Then the 50 that already got hit. The 50 got hit and boom. It's taking them down to our target. Boom. So I know that is very nice. Very, very nice. We'll always remember the low in the market. Beautiful, isn't it? Now, is this beautifully bullish big? I see something big. Everyone probably knows what I'm going to right now. Well, we do have this small thing called the primary trend line. Yes, we have the primary trend line for Bitcoin. Copy that. The line of support from $10,000, October 2020, July 2021 at just under 30,000. That we found in the back ascending triangle at 29,750. These two lines come together to form the ultimate line of support for Bitcoin for the entirety of that time period, the entirety of the trend. So as we look at upside targets, as we decide how high Bitcoin will go, we fully understand that this line, this primary level of support, as we just saw on the different lower time frames, right? The lower time frame, that move from support to resistance, okay? We just saw that on a very small time frame. Reason we focus a lot on the small time frames. Application to the largest time frames. I say that all the time. Perfect example if you've been following the stream. You guys get that. Support. This is an issue, a big issue right now. So does it look like I see something? The I see something big is, and yes, we've been talking about it. Now, recapturing, I'm going to tell you guys, were we to be able to recapture this specific, and I'll just tell you guys, like 9 times out of 10, I am very much more comfortable hammering into a lower target at the 50% than to power into this area. I mean, hello. We're going to enter into a $15 million position into resistance. Do what? Excuse me? You may get fired. Before you leave, before you say one more word, you may be fired, right? We're going to hammer into a multi-million-dollar position, okay? We're buying into resistance. Whoa. You may be fired if you say one more word, or you may, it will depend upon how you leave the building if you say one more word. The firing may be not even, right? Where was the approach? The approach on the 50%, right? Easy. 50% hit again. Nice trades below. Nice trades. Heavier amounts of cash, right? Throwing in some heavier amounts of cash. Okay? Golden pocket, heavier amounts of cash. More of that reserve. Huh? As you would talk about, more of that heavy reserve. Right? Just chip off a little block, put that in there. Boom. Right? Heavier, I'm going to tell you, heavier than the preceding level. Optimally, we could get there. When we do get there, when you have a heavier position, will you ever appreciate it? If and when. The fact it's the golden ratio. The fact that it's the percentage to which all things want to gravitate towards. Okay, so history will take care of it. Nature will take care of whether or not that statement by me is correct when we get there. At some point, guys, with the levels of volatility in crypto, I feel extremely comfortable saying that at some point. And just the technicals on board, right? The technicals in the market, etc. It's there for a reason. It's called the golden pocket for a reason. Not right now, but we're breaking out of this symmetrical triangle, right, into a line of resistance. So, and we have formulated a rising wedge. So support to support, we need to get up and over these lines. We need to be free and clear of this level. Copy that. That's the ball game. That is the 100%. As I talk about this preceding level, we call this. We didn't have we didn't have this, guys. We did not have this. It would not be sound of me to just start saying everyone needs to go ballistically bullish into this trade. Now, getting up and through this level, recapturing this level of support, the primary trend, would be huge. That would be huge, right? Could we differentiate this? We could differentiate this into this preceding level here, okay? We could differentiate that into that first, that differentiated level there and say that we're still within this. And you guys will remember I had spoken about that frequently in terms of, remember this, try and tuck this up under either a feature here, okay? Up in here, I mean, the more we walk this up and start to shop the level of support, we can, and just say, well, we're within that zone there. There's just already been respected. I'm just going to tell you, and you guys know this has already been respected. This line has already been respected. So it's not necessarily a no-go zone. You can shop the bottom of the bull flags on the way up for your preferred level. It is a pivot. You can use it as a seat, essentially, for your line of support. So you can do that. I'll give that to we'll give that to, we don't have to give it to the market. It is the market, right? And we discussed that, whether or not it's there, whether or not it's here, etc. Okay? So that would be your argument against the saving grace of the fact that we have this primary initiation of the trend. Boom. Right? Has already been respected. With an attempt to hold, hold on, let me get this. With an attempt to hold, let me just lock these down. With an attempt to hold here. Let me actually delete these. Let me just hide them. There we go. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. From an attempt to hold here, we looped through it here, right? And that's the one feature people are like, well, we attempted to get up and above it here. We attempted to regain it again. And that specific level in here is kind of difficult to frame because it's inexact. You guys know I had a red line here. It decided to jump around the red line. It does it sometimes, right? It's just a key feature of prior support. I mean, at least we have 1, 2, 3 instances of prior support. We don't want to talk a trade away, but as we have frustrated, and then right on prior, guys, this is the key. Prior support as direct resistance. It's just a big deal. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Key focal, right? So this lower level, I'm fine with it. I'm not disagreeing that this lower level could play. Right? Hold on. Okay, in line with something like that. That being the defined trend. But to the extent that this is still going to be a very active level here, a potential interaction that has just recently evidenced itself, and most recently directly evidenced itself. Just pay attention to that line as you guys draw it out on your desktop. Just that line, if even for a bit, should play to the extent that it plays like it did here. And you guys know it's all over this line, from this support to this level in here, capitulation this level in here, boom. To the extent that we're up for another round, assuming we get up and out of this triangulation, right? Out of the wedge, etc. Just be aware of that line. It is so super crucial, guys. That's the key level. And let's see where we're at right now. Okay. So, hope you guys are doing well. I am going to go have a cohiba. And let's take a look at this. What do we got going on here? That would be a decent, wouldn't that just be nice? Thinking about what I would prefer. You guys know the targeting technique. Something like that would be nice, right? As I'm looking for, as we're talking about cross trends, etc., looking at something in the framework, if we could maintain the trend. And ideally, also to beat a trend is the notion that establishing some sort of an upward trajectory like this, or even more aggressive, is within the framework, right? just establishing a channel. Find the most, I say this, the most recent width of a specific wedge, top line resistance, carrying it over and creating a framework to continue to traject up, right? The parallel function is a real componentry that's frequently overlooked in terms of TA, in terms of the preference. You guys will get there with your targeting, etc. Hope you guys are doing well. I'd like to see some patterning in here. This was a nice move here, without a doubt. Hit your targets. Love you guys hitting your targets. Some of your altcoins are on target. You guys know that. Some of them performed early. What can you learn from those ones that performed early? Like Luna kind of jumped into the mix after Phantom and Cosmos and Rose and FXS and some of these other ones did, right? Luna got back up and busy. What can you guys learn about how Phantom fit back in the structure framework of things? Very interesting. Will it conform to Cosmos? Will it conform to Harmony One? Will it conform to those other coins? I won't say a thing about the utility of any of those in the context of their equalized or inequalized. That's not even the discussion. That's not part of the discussion at all. It's just purely technical question as you look at their price patterns, etc. Group these, begin to look at them. You start to look at XRP, slow going, right? Decent move, slow going. Just got an extension on its SEC case, right? They granted an extension on that case. You guys know that. So, rough. I will be in the back. I hope you guys are doing awesomely well. It's been fun to stream. I think we covered the majority. Still technically a bearish pattern. Still technically underneath. As we look at this, a specific level of breakout. Here we go. Very important as we look at that specific line of interaction. It's not far away. That is the primary trend line. To traject up and beyond another 4.77%. We have targets to the upside. What a line, huh? You guys have to know, huh? What a line to interact with, huh? And trying to recoup the primary trend line on, I mean, come on. I'm a fan of a lot of things. This is not one thing I'm a fan of, to tell you the truth, to bullishly charge into. I'll do it on the front end to try and adjust the line for the entirety rest of the market. Like, I'm a big fan of trading something like this right here. If I were trading something like this, I'd be a fan of kicking this line up. Bam, 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 hitting into that with some cash, heavy cash. I like that. Boom, boom, just breaking through that line. I do stuff like that. I like to hammer the lines out, particularly depending upon the patterning underneath. But this one is just like, there's a lot of overhead weight on that. There's a lot of overhead weight. We need to recapture this zone. Like, we need to do it soundly, wherein this zone here attempted to confirm down with that bear flag. Remember, pushing up this area over, when we start to see it like this, is like just trying to maintain up and above, trying to see the candles just exactly on there, because like trying to maintain price up and above, not even setting a candle on the 4 hourly up and above there, right? We need to go and we need to get, the elevation needs to change here in terms of the candle work and setting some momentum up and above that line. There's a lot of weight up above that line. That's just, it is what it is. It's the technicals. It is what it is. Would she give us the 50% back again? That's the only thing. Would she give us back the 50% target again? If so, the only thing I will say to anyone who hit it originally and still sitting on it, man, come on. Open the other account. Start to trade a little bit. Just start to trade a little bit, right? If she were to give us the 50% again. We get excited about that. Same thing. Just talk about it's going to hit the 38.2, the 23.6, 38.2, 50%, 61.8, 65th, 78.6, or the 86, or the full completion right in here. Same discussion for us. We're not biased as to, oh, well, it's going down here. No, it's the same discussion. And I just mean literally on the 5-minute that it is on the daily. It's just not a big deal. More trades, right, on one versus the other, depending upon your schedule, right? Looking at this, is she going to hit the 23.6, 38.2, the 50, the 61.8, the 65th, the 78.6, or the 86, or the full completion? Well, okay. Easy, right? Same thing. Now, if you want to schedule all of your money in your bank account and everything else and be a maximalist and just go and charge, if you want to do that, me personally speaking, I'm not going to do that with this degree of weight above me. Not right now. Okay, because I just remember this very frequently. Very recently, us trying to do that right here, it didn't work. Us trying to do that right here, it didn't work. Us trying to do that right here, it didn't work. Now we have a different dynamic ongoing on the weekly, which I've discussed. And we will provide everybody with one more recap on this weekly, as it will. Let's do this on the magnets, and let's bring this over into the scope of that primary trend line. Cool stuff, huh? Let's see what we got. Boom, boom. Okay, so now we have to bring this back. Man, I don't know if you guys can picture what that feels like here. That's a tough line. Let me get back into the 4 hourly real quickly. Let me actually change the color of that one. That's just an interesting little line. Let's do this, and let's make this, let's make it blue. Let me make it dashed. Let me make it more thick. Let's get through that. Okay, so that blue dashed line in through the 4 hourly now. Okay. So that is the completion line to the upside, which is before the primary trend line. So we have done it in order for the record. Agreed? Yes. We have this specific primary trend line of Bitcoin throughout the entirety of the preceding year plus, right? 400 plus days, 500 days, right? We have that entirety of the entirety trend of that primary support. Then we have this carry up line, which I made blue, which is that weekly carry up line, right? Now that'll vary on the candles. I'll say the one caveat. It'll vary on the candles, but that carry up from the bottom line to the top pivot. Now, on the candles, meaning we would start to carry it up to the preceding levels here, right? Same thing. The same line carried up on the lines at the lower time frames. Same thing. We would just continue to carry these up here, here, here. That seems like quite a confluence, doesn't it? Very interesting. It starts to really overlap. The more we get into those candle wicks, the lower time frames, we're starting to see that that primary trend line is technically noted, is expressive, confluent with, as we're looking for overlaps, just noted, doesn't have to be dispositive, right? But is indicative of this lower line support here. That support and that resistance. Very interesting. Very interesting. So we have some levels to get up and above. You guys know the key levels to work out on the desktop. Your chart should look as awesome as anybody else's around. I will tell you that 100%. You guys know that, huh? Without a doubt. You guys know what you are doing with specificity. Very, very nice. Let me do this. Let me do this, this. Oop. All right. That's yeah, and as we start to interact with the lower time frames, you would raise it to the candle wick rather than the line. Right? On the weekly, that line's going to be lower. Fair enough. Very interesting, huh? Man. You just look at that 46,258. That's some mean stuff there, guys. Mean stuff. That's good. It's some mean stuff. As long as BTC wants to continue to have some of this grind, some of this heavy volatility with it, right? Like I said, this grind in here, but this heavy volatility in here, just absolute, just rocket fuel, on standby at any point in time. It could go up 8%, 9%, 10%. We love it, right? As long as your altcoins are sailing, you're having fun with them, right? Maybe just what the doctor ordered, who knows, in terms of the overall price action. Okay, so we will talk with you soon, guys. I appreciate you being here. Just mind the resistance, no big deal. No reason to pull out, no reason to run and abandon the market. Carry that alpha. Alpha's a good thing to have, but be prepared to hit your targets. It's no fun if you can't ever hit a target. If you have targets below the price action all year long, you're going to hit your price targets. You're going to hit some price targets, guys. And if you do it when it looks like it's doing nothing but about to go up, you'll still hit your price targets. Try me. Try it. When it looks like it's doing nothing but about to go up, throw in your 23.6. Throw in your first your first and your second price target. See how many times they get hit. Just try it. Instead of, well, I was going to buy the whole thing. I was going to get into the, I was going to put all my money in there. Well, just try it. Just try it. Put your money in here. Try and put the 23.6. Try and put the 38.2. Just try it. I mean, if you don't want to do it now, try it next time. If you're convinced it's just going to go up, it's going nowhere but up, well, just try and set a target below it. Do that all year long. Every time you're convinced it's only going to go up, try it. See how many times you hit your pricing target. I would love to know if you did that 100 times and you were convinced it was about to just go up, how many times you hit your pricing target. What if you hit it like 65 times or 75 times out of 100? What if you hit it like 85 times out of 100? 85 times out of 100. Ooh. Then we'd have a little bit different discussion, right? If you hit your first top level of your pricing targets, like 85 times out of 100, but I thought 100 times in a row was going to go up. Do nothing but go up. Work on your trade game. Work on your skill set. Work on your application of the fundamentals of technical analysis, on your targeting, on your identification of support, resistance, your patterns. Pattern here, huh? Same pattern, hadn't changed. Levels of resistance, right? Level of resistance here as well. It's not a cookie cutter response. Easy, you want easy? Well, rewatch some streams. Yeah, rewatch some streams for kind of easy, no big deal. Working in here with the levels of primary. What do we say? Primary targeting on the macro. Easy stuff. This down here, right? Those for Pathfinder right there. I'll put these in. Boom, boom. Right below. Oop. Oop. Doge. The Doge popping out, huh? Doge going to bull flag. Not bad, guys, in the back, huh? I was hoping for that, huh? Look at that. We were drawing this out in the back. I'm hoping Doge goes up. We're going to start trading Doge on leverage potentially. We may start doing that on like 5L. Why not, huh? Just throwing a Doge. Potentially. Still, huh? And those guys now, look at that grind up on that. That's on my, I don't know why I have that scheduled up with the 65th there. It looks like golden pocket work. Man, that's been slow. Doge has been slow. So we pay attention to Doge. Nothing like Doge. I don't know, old Elon to come around. May need to petition him, huh? Elon, huh? I figured people would be trying to sue him by now. that Doge scammer, huh? He ain't do nothing but make it go up, man. Except one Saturday night. One fateful Saturday night. Man. Unbelievable, huh? Unbelievable. So, it's crypto. Things are supposed to happen. You all know that. It's real money involved, so protect your position like a fighter. Protect your position at all times, right? With backup heavy reserve cash. This is a rising wedge for hourly. Copy that. We are attempting to break out. We are on the lines, not on the candle wicks. We got some resistance above. If we can just pop up and zoom up through that, great. If you're a little, you're in the position now. And the guys who've hit their targets below, do you want to take profits now? Is that the question? Or you want to enter into another trade? I like another trade up through here, me personally. I'd like to get up through this area, this like a congestion in the freeway, like all the traffic stalls. I'd like to just to shoot up through here, and that's fine. Go ahead and take do a carry position if you want to. That's fine. 5-6%. That's fine. It'll make 5-6% the next number of days up or down easily. So there's a lot of volatility to it. So I'd like to get up in this area. Right, through this level of resistance. Like it's a crucial level of resistance. I'd like to respect that weekly target to the upside too, in terms of the upward targets on that specific weekly. The most clearly indicated pattern right now on the weekly is that symmetrical triangulation. So that's what I'm looking at, with the carry up function of the bottom line support to resistance and with that upside target. To the extent that you're gauging your other coins on Bitcoin and you're looking to Bitcoin for technical guidance and overall market direction, I salute the idea, and I hope you guys go and get it. If you're new to the station, this is London, former financial professional, not financial advice, Harvard Business School, Duke University certified in markets, but you guys go get your own, what would you call it, financial advice without a doubt. And what do we say? Just it's a pleasure to talk to you guys. We streamed a little bit earlier today. Is it Friday? What's up? It's Friday in the house. Huh? Maybe we'll do a stream on Saturday afternoon if it's pretty weather where you're at and warming up a little bit. Go enjoy that sunshine. That's VIP way to be, and shoot us some pictures. Let us know what you're up to. If you're hanging out with family, etc., we'd love to see them in the back. That's our top level membership. You guys know. Shout out to Steve-O. Steve-O, what's up, man? Look at this guy. Look at this guy trading. Ba-boom. That would be VIP. Look at that, guys. That's the man. That is Steve-O. He's VIP. Who's that guy over there? I don't know what he's looking at over there. Steve, what you doing, man? There's Pathfinder. There's all kinds of guys back here. Look at Path. Look at this man. The Doge man. Cool dudes. VIP in the house. Where's Slimbo? Slimbo. Where is Slim? The Doginator. Look at him, guys. Slim Doginator. He is actually the Terminator for Doge. You guys don't want to see their charts. Beautiful chart work. Absolutely beautiful chart work. There is Big Craig in the house. VIP. Have to shout out. What is up on the top? You will see none other than Angel Matos. You guys know Angel is a good friend and just the top VIP we could want. You guys know this? Who else is a good friend? AJ Crypto. Good guy. Good friend. Hope AJ, you and the family are doing awesome. You mean a lot to me, AJ, and I hope that your 2022 is shaping up amazingly well, without a doubt. Luke, what's up, my man? Dude, what's up? Luke he's kind of like the powerhouse, the back. He's kind of, I don't know if he's like, I don't know. He is the VIP. Luke, in terms of charts, in terms of consistency, everything else, he is the VIP. He just is. And Slim and Path, you guys are kind of the, I don't know, guys. The whole deal is just really impressive. I have to say that. I'm really excited to be back there with you guys. I'm a member too. I joined too. Why not? I'll be VIP with you guys. I like being VIP with you guys. It's a cool deal. So, but if you're not VIP yet, go ahead and join. You should join us if you want to beat the market. If you don't want to beat the market, nah. If you don't want to do your own charts or anything else, nah. We don't want you to join, to be frank. So, let's get through this resistance. Nice bull flags. Bull flags are easy. Hey, we're going the right direction, right? Everybody get excited about that. Hey, we're going up. Wedge, not so much fun. Potentially on a, particularly on a breakout. I say potentially because on the candlesticks, they're just not fun. It's not fun for us to be amidst a breakout and be like, yeah, we're going down. But going down could mean this. Understand? It's not like down, right? You know, understand. Yesterday I left you with the hourly being bullish. I mean and the 30-minute being bearish. The specific level now we should kind of watch is this line on the 4-hourly. Right there is nice in terms of a rebound. These are some of the trend lines you're going to want to play as you scope out targets, potentially. Okay? These trend lines matching up with your Fibonacci's are going to be crucial. You guys know that? These lateral prior resistance lines, right? Just get really crucial, guys. I would pay attention to those on the 4-hourly and on the hourly. Too much else is kind of difficult to fit onto your screen. But you see how that one from the 4-hourly, you see how it's currently perfectly in play? You see that? Okay, so point kind of proven. Just make sure that you incorporate those resistances into your lines of into your targeting lines, and along with your pattern lines as well, in terms of the breaking points, etc. You might want to look at those in terms of fashioning the ideal targets. But we had the same thing on this first rising wedge. We had this specific pattern here. You guys know that specific descending triangle. This always looks best on a big screen TV. You guys know that, right? But that descending triangle did fake out. It faked out. We were ready for it. Expect the unpredicted a little bit with the notion or with the fact that we're in the rising wedge. All right, so this is London. We are amidst the breakout. We're under on the candle wicks or lower time frames. We'd like to conquer this level, and if we could put on another, I'll just say this, if we could put on another, and it sounds like a lot, but if we carry up, I know you guys have solid positions underneath that you're kind of carrying anyway. So to the extent that you want to carry up maybe another $2,000 and get kind of in the clear of this green primary, level of resistance now. Copied here is resistance. To the extent that we can get up and above that line, we'll be watching the pattern framework up until the point that we can confirm that we have traversed this line of support and we are now using it as resistance in line with those key BSH MACD hybrid lines. I would pay attention to those big time. We're up and over them now. We want to continue to stay up and over them. Okay? That blue and that orange MACD hybrid BSH line. All right? Pretty easy stuff. That one being the easiest. Just the MACD hybrid BSH. You guys know on certain time frames, etc. It's just it's like it's that along with your chop, along with certain other. We've been green for a bit, haven't we? Close to the longest that we've been. It is the longest consecutive period of time that we have been green in the last 130 days. So we are headed in the right direction. The indicators are looking solid. Pay attention to the line of resistance, guys. This is London. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I appreciate you guys. You're awesome. We have a great group, and I have a great time with the group, and I hope you guys too. We'll talk to you soon. You guys hit me up in the back if you need anything at all. Gate is closing soon, so if there's any coins you want to trade, let's trade. All right, just enough time to get into a new one and let it run up a little bit like RebelBot's 30x. Let's see what we got over the next number of weeks here. Let's see if we can get on and tackle Gate while it's still there to be tackled, guys. It's not closed yet. So this is London with Crypto Kingdom Bitcoin Spike. We will talk to you soon.